Lin Ye stared at the expulsion notice, its red seal glaring like blood. Sign it. Lin, the academic director, tapped the desk impatiently. Today is the deadline for the awakening ceremony. Lin Ye, your psychic wave fluctuation is nearly zero. Instead of disgracing yourself at Xingha Academy, why don't you head to the lower district and find a job tightening screws at an electronics factory? A low chorus of snickers rippled around. This was the blaze sanctum of Xingha Academy, where a holographic projection simulated the vast starry ocean on the domed ceiling. Hundreds of students lined up excitedly waiting to receive their own blazes. In this era of Al-Captains, the Comingafage ceremony was the watershed. Merge with a blaze, ignite a warship, and you become an aristocrat soaring through the stars. Fail. Then crawl to the bottom and be a fuel worker for life. Lin Ye took a deep breath. He had been transmigrated here for 3 months and he was fed up with this life of constant fear. No money, no background, and his original body was a psychic cripple. Director, according to federal law, I have the right to one last attempt, Lin Ye said, his voice hoarse but each word crystal clear. Lin sneered and casually pointed to a pile of scrap in the corner of the hall. Fine, over there is the abandoned zone. If you can awaken a warship from that pile of industrial garbage, you'll eat this desk on the spot. The whole hall burst into laughter. The abandoned zone. Isn't that just a junkyard? I heard those are the wreckage of battle-damaged warships recycled over the years. Their blazes were extinguished long ago. Is Lin Ye crazy from scavenging? Amid the crowd, a youth in a silver uniform emerged like a star surrounded by admirers. Zhao Tianyu, Lin Ye's arch-rival, had just awakened the Great Blaze Thunder frigate and was now at the peak of his pride. He strode up to Lin Ye, patted his shoulder condescendingly, and lowered his voice. Lin Ye, stop struggling. If you kneel and beg me now, I might consider letting you clean the toilets on my warship later. After all, we're old classmates, ha 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 ha. Lin Ye knocked his hand away, turned expressionlessly, and walked toward the dusty corner. Every step felt like walking on a knife's edge. Was he angry? Of course. Was he stifled? About to explode. But he had no choice. The cheapest blaze in the official zone cost 100,000 federal credits. He couldn't even afford a fraction of that. The abandoned zone was piled with all kinds of bizarre metal lumps. Some were rusted, others missing corners, exuding a stench of decayed machine oil. Lin Ye crouched down, his fingers touching a cold piece of black iron. No reaction. He switched to another, still dead silence. Lin shouted from afar, 1 minute left. Lin Ye, stop dawdling, the security guards are ready to throw you out. Zhao Tianyu whistled, countdown begins. 30 seconds. Despair surged like a tide. Was he really going to be a space beggar after transmigrating? Lin Ye bit his teeth so hard that his nails dug into his palms, blood seeping out. I won't accept this. At that very moment, a cold mechanical voice detonated without warning deep in his mind. Ding. Detected strong emotional fluctuations from host. Blaze Warship Auxiliary System activating. Activation successful. Newbie gift released inside eye permanently enabled. Lin Ye's pupils contracted sharply. The world had changed. The dim abandoned zone was now filled with dense data streams visible to him. He looked at a relatively intact rhombus crystal nearby. Item standard blaze damaged, status energy loss 99, cannot activate evaluation, industrial garbage, recommend recycling. He then looked at the A-grade blaze in Zhao Tianyu's hand. Item thunder type blaze potential B, inflated defect core circuit has hidden damage, will explode after 3 jumps. Evaluation, all that glitters is not gold. Lin Ye almost laughed out loud. The treasure Zhao Tianyu cherished was actually a ticking time bomb. Ding. High energy reaction detected 3 meters ahead. The system's prompt became urgent. Lin Ye's heart jumped and he followed the system's guidance. It was something at the very bottom, black, round like a rusty gas canister. It was covered in strange green slime, looking disgusting. Someone had even kicked it earlier, annoyed that it was in the way. But in Lin Ye's vision, this gas canister was radiating a blinding violet gold light. A torrent of golden text cascaded like data. Item ancient Titan core, self-sealed form, initial rating SSS, unique potential infinite, can evolve by devouring characteristics, mechanical activation, grants warship self-awareness, material reorganization, unlimited modifications with resources, evaluation, embryo of a god, a king sleeping in the dust. SSS rank. Infinite evolution. Lin Ye's heart pounded violently as if about to burst through his chest. This is my blaze. Time's up. Lin waved impatiently. Security, throw him out. 2 burly guards immediately stepped forward to grab Lin Ye's arms. Wait. Lin Ye stood up abruptly, clutching the oil-stained gas canister tightly. I've made my choice. The whole hall went dead silent for a second. Then an uproarious laughter erupted, nearly lifting the roof. Ha 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 ha. I can't. He chose a gas canister. I saw that thing earlier, it looked like a waste gas pump dropped from a garbage processing shipwright. Lin Ye, are you planning to deliver takeout in space with a gas canister? Zhao Tianyu laughed so hard tears came out. Lin Ye, you're a true talent. To stay in school you'd even take home such trash. Li Xin also looked at Lin Ye with utter disdain as if he were an idiot. Lin Ye, are you sure? Once registered it's permanent. You'll be stuck with this junk for life. Lin Ye ignored all the mockery. He gently stroked the cold rough metal surface in his arms. Though it looked ugly now, he could feel the terrifying world-shaking fluctuation inside. It was a sleeping dragon waiting for its night. I am sure. Lin Ye lifted his head, his eyes shockingly bright. Director, please register it. I choose this. Madman. Li Xin shook his head, quickly operated on a tablet and announced. Registration complete. Lin Ye, Blaze number 9527 rating. Grade waste. You can get lost now. Lin Ye hugged the gas canister and turned to leave. As he passed Zhao Tianyu, Zhao deliberately stuck out a foot to trip him, taunting, hey trash recycling chief, remember to take a detour from now on, don't dirty my warship. Lin Ye stopped, tilted his head and curled a sinister smile. Zhao Tianyu, cherish your warship. After all, its days of flying are numbered. Having said that, Lin Ye strode out of the sanctum. The mockery behind him remained piercing, but he turned a deaf ear. Just after leaving the academy gate at a deserted street corner, Lin Ye immediately mentally commanded system check the newbie gift pack. Ding! Newbie gift pack opened. Obtain source points X100 can be used for Blaze evolution. Obtain trait selection card X1 can add a powerful trait to the warship. Lin Ye looked at the gas canister in his arms, a fanatical gleam in his eyes. System consume 100 source points to activate the Titan core. Command confirmed. Injecting source points. Warning. Energy reaction too high. Mythological being awakening. The gas canister in his arm suddenly vibrated, its rust cracking inch by inch. A piercing azure blue light burst forth from the fractures. Lin Ye licked his dry lips. Tremble, mortals. Your emperor has returned. The azure blue pillar of light did not last long. It was like the breath of a deep-sea leviathan bursting through the clouds and then suddenly contracting, pouring back into the rusty mottled gas canister. Dead silence on the street corner. Lin Ye could hear the dull thud of his own heart against his chest. The weight in his arms had changed. The rough, even scratchy feel of rust had vanished, replaced by a touch that was warm as jade yet hard as steel. He lowered his head. The ugly gas canister was gone. Floating between his hands was a dark golden rhomboid core. It was about the size of a basketball, its surface covered in intricate obscure purple patterns. These patterns seemed alive, breathing and pulsating slowly, and with each flicker the space around it twisted slightly. No screws, no rivets, seamlessly formed. It was as if someone had compressed a mighty steel fortress into the size of a heart. Ding! Titan core infancy activated successfully. Warship form reconfiguring. Current resources insufficient, maintaining only core chamber form. Lin Ye's eyes were flooded with rapidly scrolling data streams. He suppressed his wild joy and looked at the core's attribute panel. Name Titan, unnamed, level LV. 1 frigate class, growth capable, armor 50005000. Note average level 1 frigate has 500 energy 10001000 void energy spark trait 1. Mechanical revitalization passive. The warship has self-awareness, can auto-defend, and has 50 immunity to mental control. 2. Material recomposition active, can devour metal or retabris to repair itself or evolve, current devouring efficiency 10 tons/hour. Weapon slots 02 vacant, module slots 04 vacant. Overall evaluation, although it's just an egg now, it's as hard as a brick. 5,000 armor points. Lin Ye gasped. For context, the much-hyped class Thunder frigate of Zhao Tianyu barely had an initial armor of 800 points. Without any external armor, just the core's own hardness was already 6 times that of others. Was this the weight of an SS-class mythical being? Buzz, the dark golden core in his hand, suddenly trembled, lightly detached from Lin Ye's palm and floated silently half a meter beside him. It seemed to be examining Lin Ye. A strange mental link was instantly established. No cold mechanical voice, he felt an emotion of attachment, hunger and irritability. It was hungry. It wanted to eat. Don't worry, there will be plenty for you later. Lin Ye reached out and patted the cold surface of the core, the corners of his mouth rising uncontrollably. Just then the sound of footsteps and alarms came from afar. The energy fluctuation was around here. Hurry! Lock down the scene. Is a high-level warship out of control? It was the Academy patrol. That beam of light had been too conspicuous, it must have alerted the school authorities. Lin Ye's eyes narrowed. Now was not the time to be exposed. An innocent man may have a treasure, and that makes him a target. An expelled class trash suddenly awakening a monster like this would not get flowers and applause, but rather being sliced for research or having it snatched away by some big shot. Conceal your presence. Lin Ye commanded in his mind. The floating Titan core seemed to understand him. The purple glow on its surface instantly extinguished and the dark golden shell quickly dimmed, covering itself again with a layer of gray camouflage. In the blink of an eye it looked like a slightly more refined big iron ball. Except for flying it was utterly unremarkable. Lin Ye. What are you still doing here? A few uniformed security guards rushed around the corner and immediately saw Lin Ye standing in the shadows along with the iron ball floating beside him. The leading security captain frowned, his electromagnetic baton still crackling. He scanned the surroundings warily. Was that blue light you made? Lin Ye wore a timely expression of bewilderment and a bitter smile. He pointed at the iron ball beside him. Captain, I just wanted to see if I could activate this junk. It seems to have short-circuited in spark, and that's what brought you here. The security captain approached suspiciously. He prodded the gray iron ball with his baton. Clank. Clank. The sound was dull with no reaction. Apart from floating, something even a toy could do in this interstellar era, it showed no high-energy response. Junk is junk. The captain relaxed and showed disdain. The monitoring station said there was a high-energy reaction. Probably an instrument malfunction or residual energy in this piece of junk exploded. He waved his hand like shooing a fly. Get lost. Take your trash and leave the academy grounds. Cleaning time is in 10 minutes. Don't blame me if I'm not lenient. Leaving now. Lin Ye didn't argue, even appearing submissive. He turned and left. The Titan core followed silently like a loyal guard behind him. After walking a few hundred meters and completely leaving the magnificent gates of Xinghe Academy, Lin Ye's tense back relaxed. He turned to look at the towering Spark Sanctum. The holographic starry sky was still brilliant. That was the stage for geniuses. And he right now was just a discarded pawn kicked out. Just wait. Lin Ye whispered, when I come back I'll make all of you crane your necks. He took the core and ducked into a dilapidated alley. This was the edge of the lower city, chaotic, dirty, but also free. Lin Ye's primary goal was clear: make money, get resources, and then truly build this warship. For now the Titan core with its insane stats was truly just a core. No hull, no engine, no weapons. It was like a powerful heart but lacking limbs and torso. System, I still have a self-selection trait card, right? Lin Ye found an empty abandoned warehouse to sit down, his temporary hideout. Yes. Please choose a direction: attack, defense, support, special. Lin Ye looked at the floating iron ball and fell into thought. Attack. Not necessary. He needed to develop quietly in the early stage and the Titan core's impact force was probably enough to kill people anyway. Defense. 5,000 armor was already broken enough. I choose the special category. Lin Ye's eyes burned. Is there a trait that can solve my current penniless situation? The system was silent for a second. Then a card radiating orange light unfolded in his mind. Countless options flashed before Lin Ye's eyes. Finally his gaze fixed on a trait named Material Restructuring Greed. Trait: Greed Alchemy. Special effect: the warship can decompose any non-living matter and convert it into 100 pure source points or rare materials. Moreover, when killing decomposing a target there is a chance to plunder a beneficial trait from it. Description: since you can't afford to buy, just melt down the enemy's underwear. Lin Ye snapped his fingers. I'll take it. This was a godlike skill tailor-made for a pauper like him. Ding. Loading trait. Load successful. Titan core gains new trait: Greed Alchemy. The previously still core suddenly began to tremble violently. The camouflage on its surface instantly fell away and on the dark golden shell fine cracks appeared, revealing a crimson glow inside. Like countless mouths craving food. Lin Ye fished out his last coin from his pocket and tentatively tossed it over. Crunch. The core lunged at it, opening a gap in midair and swallowing the coin instantly. Ding. Decomposed Federation Alloy Coin X1. Obtain source points 0. 1. Obtain trace fine copper. Lin Ye's eyes lit up. He looked around the abandoned warehouse. It was piled with discarded industrial pipes, rusty iron sheets, and all kinds of unwanted electronic waste. In the eyes of others this was a pile of garbage. But to Lin Ye now this was all money. All nourishment for the warship's evolution. Eat. Lin Ye pointed at the scrap metal filling the room, giving the first command. Eat it all. The Titan core let out a joyful hum like a mouse charging into a rice barrel, turning into a blur and pouncing on the nearest pile of discarded steel pipes. The feast had begun. Inside the abandoned warehouse the air was thick with the acrid smell of rust scorched by high temperatures. With a low hum the Titan core hovered midair like an indomitable dark gold heart. Fissures on its surface split open, revealing a crimson energy vortex. It was like a bottomless pit, greedily tearing apart all metal around it. A rusty beam weighing 200 G melted and disintegrated silently upon contact with the red light like snow meeting a hot iron. No molten iron dripped down, all matter was decomposed into basic particle streams devoured by that mouth. Before Lin Ye's eyes, data on the system panel was jumping wildly. Decomposed abandoned E-beam low quality. Acquired source points 0. 2 refined iron 5 kilograms. Decomposed damaged drive shaft. Acquired source points 0. 5 trace chromium alloy 0. 1 kilogram. Decomposed scrap electronic board. Acquired source points 0. 1 trace rare earth 0. 5 kilograms. In less than half an hour the once towering pile of scrap metal had shrunk by more than half. Only a thin layer of ash remained on the empty warehouse floor. This efficiency is nothing short of plunder. Lin Ye picked up the last piece of scrap and tossed it over. Watching the core close its fissures with a hint of reluctance, a surge of indescribable satisfaction welled up within him. In this world-modifying warships was a bottomless money pit. Even installing the most common light alloy armor on a ship cost 3,000 Federation credits just for materials, not to mention the exorbitant labor and blueprint fees. But for him all he needed was to consume garbage. Ding! Consumable matter in the current area exhausted. Feeding summary: acquired 35 source points 1. 2 tons of basic alloy materials. Sufficient materials detected. Initiate preliminary hull restructuring. Lin Ye's eyes sharpened. Restructure. The bare core was tough but lacked intimidation, and without any mounting points he couldn't rely on ramming forever. As the words fell, the Titan core spun violently. Under the effect of matter restructuring, the freshly devoured metal materials were purified of all impurities and expelled in a near-perfect molecular arrangement. With a grating sound of metal grinding, layers of black metallic skeleton began to extend from the dark gold core surface. Like living vines they rapidly intertwined, hardened, and covered the core. 3 minutes later the light dissipated. The bare sphere was gone, replaced by a disc-shaped metallic body about a meter in diameter. It was pitch black, seamless, with edges sharp as a blade, exuding a cold, sinister gleam. On both the upper and lower surfaces of the disc a ring of dark purple breathing lights pulsed slowly. Form update: Titan Sentinel First Order Form Armor Value 5,6500 External Armor Bonus New Mount Kinetic Cutting Blade Edge Sharpness Enhanced, capable of high-speed rotational cutting. Evaluation: from an egg to a lethal frisbee. Don't underestimate it, it can slice through tank armor. Lin Ye reached out and touched the cold sharp edge. Flicking it with his finger, it rang with a crisp dragon-like chime. It's not a warship yet, but at least it's a decent weapon. He glanced outside the warehouse. The sky had completely darkened. In the lower district at night there were no stars, only flickering neon lights and distant sirens. His stomach growled in protest. Lin Ye patted his empty pockets. Not enough for even the cheapest nutrient fluid. Looks like I need to find some living resources. With a cold gaze, Lin Ye straightened his faded school uniform and turned toward the warehouse door. The black disc behind him followed silently like a shadow from the underworld. In this dog-eat-dog lower district the line between hunter and prey could shift in an instant. And now he was hungry. His warship was hungry too. The 13th district of the lower city was notoriously known as the Zone of Chaos. Here there was no law, only the rules of gangs. As Lin Ye stepped out of the alley where the abandoned warehouse stood, 3 elongated shadows blocked his path. Yo, isn't this a student from Star River Academy? The leader was a bald man with a glowing red bionic eye in his left socket and a crude hydraulic mechanical arm on his right, still stained with dried oil and blood. Behind him followed 2 underlings with green-dyed hair fiddling with switchblades and modified electrified knuckle dusters. Kid, lost your way. The bald man scrutinized Lin Ye, his gaze covetously fixed on the black disc hovering behind the youth. That thing looks pretty fancy. Is it a drone toy from school? Let Big Brother borrow it for a couple of days. Lin Ye halted, his face expressionless as he stared at the trio. Scanning target: lower city thug, cybernetically modified threat level G, trash equipment, inferior hydraulic arm 20 strength boost, outdated electrified knuckle dusters. Evaluation: a walking speck of source points recommended for recycling. The system's assessments were always so sharp and merciless. Scram! Lin Ye uttered a single word, not breaking his stride as he continued forward. The air froze instantly. The bald man was taken aback for a moment, then erupted in fury, his face contorting violently. You're asking for trouble. Since you want to die, I'll grant your wish. Get him. Break his legs and take the thing. Hee hee, you got it, boss. The green-haired thug on the left let out a weird laugh, brandishing his electrified knuckle duster as he lunged at Lin Ye's side. The current crackled. A solid blow from that would leave an ordinary person paralyzed for at least half a day. Lin Ye didn't even bat an eye. Whir. The black disc that had been silently floating behind him suddenly moved. No one even saw its trajectory. Only a sharp sonic boom echoed through the air. The next second. A piercing scream tore through the night. The green-haired thug collapsed to his knees, clutching his wrist as blood gushed out. The electrified knuckle duster in his hand along with half his palm had simply vanished. No, not vanished. It had been severed. The black disc hovered half a meter in front of the green-haired thug, its edges spinning at high speed, creating a visible vortex of air currents. In the instant the severed hand and knuckle duster touched the disc's edge, they were devoured by the terrifying red glow. Decomposing organic tissue. Acquired trace bioenergy. Decomposing electrified knuckle duster. Acquired source points 0. 1 copper coil 1. What the hell is that thing? The bald man stumbled back in fright, his bionic eye flashing frantically as it tried to analyze the situation, only to return a stream of garbled code. This is a warship core. Impossible. How can a warship core have offensive capabilities? In the common knowledge of this world, a newly awakened warship core was as fragile as an infant. It had to be equipped with weapon modules in a dock before it could fight. No one had ever heard of a core that could be used directly as a throwing weapon. Attack together. That thing is mine. A glint of ruthlessness and greed flashed in the bald man's eyes. Although he didn't know what it was definitely a treasure. He let out a roar and the hydraulic device in his right arm hummed as he smashed it toward Lin Ye's head with immense force. That punch could shatter steel plates. Lin Ye remained standing still, hands in his pockets, his expression as indifferent as if he were watching a boring silent film. Too slow. With a thought, the Titan guard transformed into a black lightning bolt, arriving before the attack and slammed directly into the massive mechanical arm. Clang. A thunderous sound like a great bell rang out. Sparks flew everywhere. The bald man felt as if he had struck a mountain. A terrifying recoil surged through the mechanical arm and his entire body, rattling his bones with a creaking sound, sending him flying backward 5 or 6 meters before he crashed heavily into a corner wall covered in sewage. Cough, cough. The bald man looked in terror at his right arm. That prideful modified mechanical arm was now neatly severed in the middle, the cut as smooth as a mirror and glowing with red-hot light. Yet the black disc was unscathed, still floating silently beside the youth as if it had never moved. Decomposing hydraulic mechanical arm wreckage. Acquired source points 0. 8 hydraulic fluid 0. 5L refined steel 10 kilograms. Triggered greedy alchemy special effect. Successfully plundered affix fragment powerful hydraulic 110. Lin Ye raised an eyebrow. He could plunder affixes too. Even though it was just a fragment, it was an unexpected delight. He slowly walked over to the bald man curled up on the ground and looked down at him. Don't kill me. The bald man had lost all his arrogance. Staring into Lin Ye's emotionless eyes, he felt an icy chill as if he were being watched by a cosmic beast. Hand over all your money and any valuable parts. Lin Ye's voice was calm but brooked no argument. My warship has a big appetite. If you don't want to end up inside it, hurry up. The bald man glanced at the still spinning black disc, swallowed hard and tremblingly pulled out a crumpled stack of federal notes from his bosom, then fumbled to remove the remaining prosthetic parts from his body. 10 minutes later. Lin Ye left the alley satisfied with over 1,000 federal notes in hand. Behind him 3 thugs stripped down to their underwear shivered in the cold wind. First pot of gold secured. Lin Ye looked at the cash in his hand, a faint smile curling at the corner of his mouth. It wasn't much, but it was enough to buy a few vials of basic nutrient fluid and make a trip to that place. The black market in the lower city, where he could find what he needed most now: coordinate maps of other dimensional creatures. Only slaughter could bring true evolution. The night in the lower city was violently torn apart by neon lights. Rainwater mingled with industrial exhaust fell to the ground, coalescing into rivers of multicolored oil stains. Lin Ye pulled down the collar of his school uniform and concealed the Titan core, the lethal black disc, beneath the folds of his voluminous trench coat. Though it was currently in standby mode, as lifeless as a dead object, the icy touch against his waist granted Lin Ye an unprecedented sense of security. He navigated through a labyrinth of twisted alleys and halted before a shop named Old John's Prosthetic Repairs. The rolling shutter was half-drawn and the screech of an electric saw emanated from within. Without a moment's hesitation, Lin Ye ducked and slipped inside. Behind the counter, an old man covered in grease was tinkering with a still-twitching mechanical leg. Without looking up, he said, "We're closed. Go next door for prosthetic repairs or to the back alley if you're selling organs." "I'm not here for repairs, nor am I selling flesh." Lin Ye tapped the counter 3 times, 2 short, 1 long. "I want to buy an entry ticket." The old man's hands froze. He lifted his head, revealing a pair of electronic prosthetic eyes with nothing but white sclera. Red scanning light swept across Lin Ye. A new face. And a schoolboy at that. The old man grinned, exposing a set of yellowed teeth. "The tickets here are expensive and there's no after-sale service. If you die in there, no one's coming for your corpse." "That's not your concern." Lin Ye slapped 1,000 federal credits looted from 3 thugs onto the counter. Is this enough? The old man glanced at the cash and his withered mechanical hand darted out like lightning, sweeping the money into a drawer. ITLL only buy you intel on the outermost gray zone. That's the turf for paupers and scavengers, fewer monsters, more trash. Deal. Lin Ye nodded. What he needed right now was exactly such an inconspicuous place. The old man tossed over a grimy chip. Plug this into your wristband. And here is some free advice in the black market: don't flash your wealth, don't trust anyone, and never look back. Lin Ye grabbed the chip, turned around and vanished into the rainy night. The so-called black market was actually located in the underground bunkers beneath this district. Pushing through several gates reeking of mold and rust, a cacophony of noise washed over him. There were none of the high-end holographic projections from Star River Academy here, only flickering incandescent bulbs hanging precariously overhead and countless stalls brimming with goods of dubious origin. Scan-initiated data streams surged once more across Lin Ye's retina. Item: second-hand energy pistol, modified status severe barrel, where 30 chance of misfire, evaluation a fine tool for suicide. Item: fragment of alien beast bone, status severely weathered, no energy residue remaining, evaluation too tough even for soup. As he walked past, most of the data in Lin Ye's vision was gray. This place was rife with scams and junk. The occasional item with a faint green glow carried an exorbitant price tag. Lin Ye didn't linger. He headed straight for a stall in the corner selling star chart coordinates. The vendor was a figure shrouded in a black robe with several faintly glowing display screens laid out before him. I need to buy coordinates, Lin Ye stated bluntly. The nearest spatial rift. In this world, besides the official interstellar routes, there were many unstable spatial rifts. They connected to alien dimensions teeming with monsters synonymous with danger, yet also the only path to riches for civilian captains. Grade Rift entry fee 5000. E-grade Rift entry fee 20000 inch. The vendor's voice was hoarse. Which one? Lin Ye frowned. Too expensive. He had just given that old man his last 1,000. His pockets were cleaner than his face. Is there anything free? Lin Ye asked. The vendor seemed to hear a joke, his robe trembling slightly. Free? Kid, if you want to die, just jump off a building. No need to feed the bugs in a rift. But he paused as if recalling something and tapped a few times on a screen covered in cracks. There actually is one. The vendor pointed to a region on the screen blinking with a red dot. Abandoned mine, no. 17 rift. It used to be rich in ore, but the space there has become extremely unstable this week. They say a void worm rampage has broken out. The authorities have sealed it off, but if you're not afraid of dying, you can sneak in through the sewers. Give me the coordinates. Just 50 federal credits. Lin Ye stared at the red dot. Location: abandoned mine, no. 17 danger level E, extremely dangerous, resource density high, special reaction, large numbers of low-level void creatures detected gathering, suitable for early-stage harvesting. The system's evaluation stood in stark contrast to the vendor's talk of suicide. To others it was a monster riot. To Lin Ye it was a mobile experience pack. Deal. Lin Ye fished out his last bits of change and tossed them to the vendor. After obtaining the coordinate chip, he didn't linger for a second and swiftly left the black market. The moment he stepped out of the exit, Lin Ye keenly sensed 2 tails following him. After all, a lone student in a school uniform going to and from the black market was temptation itself. Looking to rob me? Lin Ye didn't slow his pace, a cold smirk curling at the corner of his mouth. He turned into a dead end. The footsteps behind him quickened. Kid, hand over what you bought. Before the sentence could finish. In the darkness, a black afterimage swept by soundlessly. Thud. It was the muffled sound of a blade cutting through flesh. Lin Ye emerged from the other end of the alley, the hem of his trench coat fluttering slightly. In the dead end behind him, 2 figures collapsed softly, a hair-thin line of blood at their throats. Killed black market pickpocket X2. Obtained source points 0. 2. Triggered trait greedy alchemy, decomposed a pocket dagger, obtained trace amounts of refined iron. Not even enough to fill the gaps between my teeth. Lin Ye shook his head, glanced at the coordinates on his wristband. Off to the mine. The real hunt begins now. The abandoned mining area lay at the farthest edge of the lower district, abutting the wilderness thick with radiation and mist. Once the city's economic lifeline, it now stood as a graveyard of colossal mining machines, their skeletal frames rusting silently under the acid rain. Lin Ye followed the coordinates to a concealed sewer entrance. The iron grate had been violently torn open, clearly desperados had already ventured inside before him. A nauseating stench of decay hung in the air. Titan, activate guard mode, Lin Ye commanded in a low voice. The black disc hidden beneath his coat hummed as it shot out, hovering 3 feet above his head. Its dark purple respiration light flickered in the darkness like a predatory eye. Lin Ye switched on his flashlight and advanced along the damp slippery pipe. The deeper he went, the denser the claw marks on the walls became, and he even spotted human bones gnawed clean. Warning life signs detected 50 meters ahead. Target void larva LV. 1 quantity 3. The system alert had barely faded when a rustling scuttle echoed from the darkness ahead. 3 black beetles, each the size of a mongrel dog, crawled upside down along the pipe ceiling. Their sharp mandibles glistened and compound eyes glowed a sickly green, clearly sizing up Lin Ye as their evening meal. So these are void creatures. Lin Ye halted unruffled. Under his eye of insight, the weaknesses of the 3 monsters were laid bare. Weakness: carapace joints on the abdomen nerve center. The leading void larva let out a piercing shriek, its hind legs coiling and launching it like a cannonball toward Lin Ye's face. A foul wind rushed at him. Lin Ye could even see the saliva dripping from its mandibles. Yet he didn't even raise a hand. Sever, he thought. The Titan sentinel hovering above him suddenly accelerated. Instead of a straight charge, it traced a bizarre arc like a high-speed black shuriken. Shying. The air split. The void larva, still midair, went rigid. A moment later it was cleaved cleanly in two. Before the green blood could spray the wound's searing heat vaporized it instantly. The 2 halves thudded at Lin Ye's feet. The other 2 larvae hesitated momentarily, but driven by bloodlust they charged nonetheless. Too slow. Lin Ye shook his head. The Titan sentinel executed a gravity-defying sharp-angle refraction midair. Whoosh. Whoosh. 2 streaks of black light flashed. The remaining 2 larvae were decapitated in an instant. The entire ordeal took less than 2 seconds. This was the nascent form derived from an SS rank core. Even a single sentinel was an overwhelming force against such first-tier monsters. Just then the pleasant chime of system notifications flooded his interface. Killed void larva LV. 1x3. Base reward source points 3. Talent source point doubling triggered. Actual gain source points 300. Lin Ye's pupils contracted sharply. 300 points. His breathing grew ragged. An ordinary captain at this stage would be lucky to get 0. 1 source points for killing such a creature. To amass the 1000 points needed to upgrade a Starship, one would have to slaughter 10,000 of them, years of relentless struggle on the brink of death. Yet he had done it in 2 seconds. This was the terror of a hundredfold return. This isn't leveling up, this is robbery. Lin Ye stared at the surging numbers on his panel, fervor blazing in his eyes. But this was far from over. The Titan sentinel, instead of returning to Lin Ye, hovered above the carcasses and split open a crimson mouth. Activating trait Greedy Alchemy. ZZZZZT, the 3 insect corpses visibly withered and desiccated, crumbling into gray-white powder. Decomposing void organism tissue. Gained bioenergy 10. Gained material chitin carapace inferior x3. Starship armor restored by a negligible amount. Lin Ye clenched his fist. Killing gave points, corpses gave materials, and even repaired the ship. This wasn't just a perpetual machine, it was a snowballing divine skill. System consumed 300 source points to upgrade the Titan core. Lin Ye wasn't one to hoard resources. In this dangerous world, turning assets into combat power was paramount. Command confirmed. Injecting source points. Core level upgraded to LV. 2. Energy capacity 200. New blueprint unlocked. Kinetic cannon module requires high-strength steel pipe X50, gunpowder residue X20. A warm current surged into Lin Ye's mind, a feedback of spiritual energy from the starship's evolution. Though the boost was minor, he felt his once parched spiritual sea grow slightly more moist. Continue. Lin Ye peered into the sewer's abyss. Countless mobile source points awaited him there. He stepped forward, his black coat melting into the shadows, the Titan sentinel behind him humming with hunger. Tonight this place would become a slaughterhouse. Deep within the sewer it was dark and damp. This place should have been a silent realm of death, yet now it was filled with a grating, teeth-chattering sound of cutting. Sizzle, the black Titan guard like a tireless reaper's disc darted back and forth within the narrow pipes. Each time the black light flashed, a void larva was inevitably cleaved in two. Green mucus splattered against the walls, but before it could slide down it was instantly decomposed and absorbed by some invisible force. Lin Ye walked expressionlessly along the path paved with corpses. On his retina red kill notifications cascaded like a waterfall. Killed void larva LV. 1 source points 300. Killed void larva LV. 1 source points 300. Triggered Greed Alchemy, acquired trace bioenergy chitin X5. In just 10 minutes over 50 larvae had died by his hand. The once empty attribute panel now showed a source point balance that had skyrocketed to 16500 points. This number, if seen by those rookie captains outside who were still desperately struggling for a few dozen source points, would probably make them die from envy on the spot. The efficiency is acceptable but not enough. Lin Ye stepped over a withered insect corpse, his leather boots making a splashing sound in the puddles. The Titan core floated beside him. Its originally dark golden shell now glowed with a faint red light, a manifestation of its excitement after devouring a massive amount of flesh and blood energy. The pipe ahead widened. The stench in the air intensified tenfold, stinging the eyes. The ground was no longer concrete, it was covered in a thick layer of dark purple biological tissue resembling a creep. Warning. You are entering a high-risk area. Elite-level biological reaction detected ahead. Target glutton beetle LV. 3 elite quantity 1 assessment. It's just eaten and now it's in a very bad mood. Lin Ye stopped. Dozens of meters away in an open space, a giant beetle the size of a small car was lying. Its body was covered in glossy jet-black heavy armor. Its 2 huge mandibles, like a pair of hydraulic shears, were chewing on the half-eaten corpse of a human in a miner's uniform. As if sensing the presence of a living person, the glutton beetle abruptly raised its head, its compound eyes locking onto Lin Ye. Roar! A roar shook the rust loose from the ceiling. It dropped the corpse from its mouth and its 6 thick powerful legs suddenly pushed off, charging at Lin Ye like an out-of-control tank, rumbling thunderously. The momentum was terrifying. Lin Ye stood his ground, not retreating a single step. He merely watched the massive creature speeding towards him with calm eyes, a torrent of data dancing wildly within his gaze. Scanning target's weak points. The gap between the third carapace segment on the abdomen has weak defense. Inside the mouth leading directly to the brain, no defense. Is this all you've got? Lin Ye raised his right hand and gently flicked his index finger. Titan go. Whoosh. The floating black disc vanished instantly. It didn't choose a hidden collision, instead at the moment of impact it sharply gained altitude, grazing over the top of the glutton beetle's head. Just as the beetle raised its head to bite Lin Ye, the Titan guard abruptly halted in midair, then like a vertically falling meteor it dove with a piercing screech precisely into the beetle's wide-open mouth. Squelch! The giant insect's body went rigid. Then a chilling churning sound came from within its body. It was like frozen meat thrown into a meat grinder. The glutton beetle struggled wildly, crashing into the surrounding walls, causing the concrete to crack and collapse. But this was merely its death throes. 3 seconds later, its massive body crashed to the ground. Green blood gushed from its mouth and nose, only to be rapidly drained by that greedy power. Killed glutton beetle LV. 3 elite. Base reward source points 500. Triggered hundredfold critical hit. Gained source points 5000. Triggered greed alchemy elite bonus, plundered affix fragment hard carapace 15. Acquired rare material bioacid gland X1 high density insect armor X 200 kg. The black disc drilled out through the beetle's back, not a single drop of blood on it, still as shiny as new. Lin Ye looked at the string of reward notifications and a satisfied smile finally curled at the corner of his mouth. 5,000 source points. Added to his previous accumulation, the total had broken through 20,000. In this rookie period where the average person had in frank spark and worried about a few hundred credits, he was already a veritable tycoon. The materials are ready. Lin Ye walked over to the giant insect corpse and pressed one hand against its cold carapace. System, pull up the kinetic cannon blueprint. Blueprint loaded. Required materials: high-strength steel satisfied, gunpowder residue satisfied, high-density biological material satisfied. Required source points 2000. Begin construction. Lin Ye's eyes burned with intensity. In this perilous abandoned mining area, relying only on a flying disc while Agile lacked long-range suppression. He needed a gun. He needed a heavy weapon, a large-caliber one that could tear enemies to shreds. Construct. Lin Ye's voice echoed in the empty sewer. Boom. The Titan core suddenly erupted with a dazzling purple light. The surrounding piles of scrap metal and the freshly hunted insect carapace all levitated, being sucked into the purple vortex. Material recomposition beginning. A violet radiance illuminated the murky sewer, a beauty steeped in sci-fi aesthetics. Countless metal scraps melted, stretched, and reshaped within the glow. The once flat Titan guard began to undergo a drastic transformation. Its size did not increase, but its structure became more compact and formidable. At the base of the disc, a set of intricate mechanical components rapidly took shape. A black gun barrel gleamed with a cold metallic sheen. The drum magazine was arranged as densely as a honeycomb. Complex hydraulic dampeners connected to the core assembly. Click. A crisp sound of mechanical interlocking rang out. The light faded. A brand new Titan core hovered before Lin Ye. It was no longer a simple flying disc, but had transformed into a small floating autonomous turret. The 6-barreled rotary cannon at its base, as thick as an adult's arm, exuded a suffocating aesthetic of violence. Construction complete. Module acquired Titan primary kinetic cannon modified caliber 20mm rate of fire 3000 rounds. Min ammunition matter conversion rounds can be replenished by consuming source points or devouring metal current reserve. Infinite special trait tearing deals 30 bonus damage to light armor. Evaluation caliber is justice, range is truth. Though still small, it is enough to teach carbon-based lifeforms the meaning of equality. Lin Ye reached out and touched the cold gun barrel. This was the romance of men. This is what a warship should look like. He turned his gaze toward the deeper darkness of the sewer. From there came a faint, dense rustling sound. The death cry of the elite beetle seemed to have stirred the entire nest. Squeak, 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 countless green eyes lit up in the darkness, densely packed like ghostly flames. At least 100 void larvae mixed with over a dozen larger engineer beetles surged forth like a tide. They smelled the blood of their kin and were driven into a frenzy. If it were the Lin Ye of before facing such a swarm, his only options would be to use the terrain to fight a guerrilla war or to temporarily avoid their onslaught. But now, Lin Ye stood his ground, hands in the pockets of his trench coat, his expression as calm as if he were strolling in his own backyard. Titan. Open fire. Virum, the cannon hovering above his head, began to spin instantly. Warm-up 0.1 seconds. The next moment. Rat-a-tat-a-tat-a-tat. An orangered tongue of flame spat out over a meter long in the darkness. The narrow sewer was instantly transformed into a hellscape. The 20mm kinetic warheads carrying terrifying momentum cut through like a red-hot scythe through butter. The leading void larvae didn't even have time to scream before they were blown apart into clouds of green blood mist. Limbs and shattered bodies flew everywhere. The concrete walls were riddled with holes and stone chips flew. The dozen or so thick-skinned engineer beetles tried to charge through the rain of bullets, but against the metal storm of 3,000 rounds per minute their carapaces were as fragile as paper. Bang! 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 An engineer beetle's head exploded like a watermelon. Then the second, the third. Lin Ye didn't even need to move. The Titan Core's fire control system was terrifyingly precise, every bullet aimed for a vital spot, wasting none. Void larva killed X1 source points 300. Void engineer beetle killed X1 source points 1000. Source points 300. Source points 300. The numbers on the data panel began to jump wildly again. 30 seconds. Just 30 seconds. The surging swarm was utterly annihilated, leaving only a carpet of gore and a thick, lingering smell of gunpowder. The gun barrel was still spinning, slowly radiating searing heat. Lin Ye stepped forward, walking through the pools of blood. Too weak. He shook his head, a hint of regret in his tone. This level of battle wasn't even enough to test the cannon's maximum overheating time. Just then human exclamations came from ahead. Holy shit! Who's that? With that firepower? Is it a military heavy mech? At the end of the sewer was an abandoned mining cavern. At that moment a foreman exploration team was huddled pitifully behind cover. They were all wounded, their gear tattered, clearly driven to desperation by the insect swarm. Believing death was certain, they instead witnessed a scene that made them question reality. A youth in a high school uniform accompanied by a floating Gatling turret stepped out from a mountain of corpses and a river of blood as if on a leisurely stroll. The monsters that had brought them to the brink of despair were as fragile as a joke before this youth. Lin Ye stopped, his cold gaze sweeping over the four people. Scan target, lower district scavenger team. Threat level none. Equipment old kinetic rifle, inferior alloy blade. Evaluation A bunch of wretches fighting for survival, their most valuable possessions are probably a few compressed biscuits. Lin Ye averted his gaze, ignoring their shock, and walked straight toward the center of the mine. There a crystalline or emitting a faint blue light was embedded in the rock wall. It was a void crystal. It was also the source of the insect swarm's rampage. This thing, I'm taking it. Lin Ye spoke calmly, but his voice carried an undeniable authority. The four scavengers exchanged glances, looked at the still smoking cannon muzzle, and swallowed in unison. You. Please go ahead. The team leader, a middle-aged man, nodded frantically. No way. Fight this ruthless guy for loot. Did they have a death wish? Lin Ye walked up to the crystal. The Titan core drifted over slowly and split open a gap. Crack. The priceless void crystal was swallowed in one gulp. Devoured low-purity void crystal. Source points gained 5,000. Titan core charge progress 10. High-dimensional energy detected. New trait branch unlocked. Void shield requires prerequisite core level LV. 5. A sharp light flashed in Lin Ye's eyes. This was the true treasure. He turned and disappeared into the dark tunnel, leaving the four gazing at him with awe as if he were a god. Tonight's hunt has only just finished its warm-up. The air in the sewer remained foul, carrying a nauseating stench. Lin Ye trod upon the viscous ground, step by step emerging from the darkness. The Titan core floating beside him had retracted its ferocious six-barreled cannon, reverting to an inconspicuous black disc. Only the occasional arc of azure electricity betrayed the massacre it had just perpetrated. The 4 surviving scavengers stood in a row against the wall, not daring to breathe. They watched Lin Ye return from that deathly zone without a single stain of blood on him. The swarm that had nearly annihilated them had fallen utterly silent. Master, the scavenger leader, mustered his courage, his voice trembling like a leaf in the wind. "Thank you for saving us." Lin Ye halted. He tilted his head, his eyes as cold as ice in the dim light. "I didn't save you. I just went to retrieve my property." The lives of these 4 meant nothing to him. If they hadn't been blocking the intersection, Lin Ye wouldn't have spared them a glance. The leader was momentarily speechless, but as a seasoned veteran he quickly grasped the implication. Regardless of intent, the outcome was their survival, and they had witnessed an unbelievable one-sided massacre. "Understood, we understand." The leader hastily pulled a crumpled magnetic card from his bosom and offered it with both hands. "We found this access card in an abandoned warehouse ahead. Not sure what it's for, but it's a small token of our gratitude." Lin Ye glanced at it. Item: District D Armory Backup Access Deactivated Evaluation. A piece of waste plastic, but might fetch some intel in the hands of a skilled hacker. Lin Ye didn't take it. "Keep it to buy yourself a coffin." With that he headed for the exit without looking back. Only when Lin Ye's figure vanished around the corner did the 4 scavengers collapse as if their spines had been removed. "Captain, what kind of monster was that?" A scavenger wiped his cold sweat. "He's a student, right? Our All-Star River Academy students that freakish." "Freakish." The leader gave a bitter laugh, gazing at the insect carcasses strewn about. "That was a god. Remember his face. From now on in the lower city, if you see him, crawl away, even if you have to crawl on your knees." Back on the surface, the rain had stopped. Lin Ye didn't return directly to the abandoned warehouse. Instead, he took a few detours to ensure no one was tailing him, then slipped into the basement of a half-finished building. This was his temporary safe house. System: Tally the spoils. Lin Ye sat cross-legged on a dusty mattress, the Titan core floating silently before him. Hunt statistics: Void larvae killed X128. Worker bugs killed X15. Glutton beetle killed X1. Source points acquired 48500, including 100x multiplier. Materials acquired: high density insect chitin 2 tons, biological acid gland X1, void crystal low purity X1. Current source point balance 52150. 50,000 source points. Lin Ye's heart pounded vigorously at the sight of that number. By Star River Academy standards, a newly awakened student needed about 1000 source points to upgrade in Frank Spark to a rank. His current wealth was enough to push an entire regular class through to graduation. This is the thrill of plunder. Lin Ye pulled the azure glowing void crystal from his pocket. This item could fetch 100,000 federal credits on the black market, a hard currency in high demand. But sell it. Only a fool would do that. Titan: consume it. Hum. The black disc split open like a ravenous maw, devouring the crystal in one gulp. Devour successful. Titan core nourished by void energy. Energy recovery speed increased by 50. New trait unlocked: void stealth active. When activated, radar cross-section reduced by 99, visual visibility reduced by 80. Consumes energy continuously. Lin Ye snapped his fingers. Invisibility. This was the perfect skill for an assassin. Paired with the kinetic cannon's extreme rate of fire, he was now a ghostly reaper. Now time to deal with this trash. Lin Ye looked at the mountain of insect chitin and glands in his system space. Though the Titan core could consume metal, these biological materials had a low conversion rate. It was better to exchange them for money. He needed money. A lot of it. Purchasing high-strength alloys, rare metals, and even higher-tier spark blueprints couldn't be done by just scavenging. Lin Ye stood up, changed into a black hoodie, and tucked the Titan core into his bosom. Old John should be able to handle this batch of goods. His eyes glinted with a dangerous light. Fencing stolen goods was often more perilous than robbery itself. But in the face of absolute firepower, danger was just another way to farm credits. Old John's repair shop was barely clinging to life, its dim sign flickering with a dying hum. Lin Ye pushed open the rolling door. The harsh screech of metal echoed sharply in the silent night. Behind the counter, the old man with a prosthetic eye was filing a broken mechanical hand. Hearing the noise, he didn't even look up. "I told you I don't take scrap or offer shelter for the night. I'm here to sell." Lin Ye approached the counter, his voice calm. Old John paused, his red electronic eye swiveling to lock onto Lin Ye. "You again? That schoolboy." He grinned, revealing yellowed teeth. "What, took a stroll through the sewers and picked up some cans?" Lin Ye didn't waste words. He raised his hand and his wristband flashed. With a clatter, a pile of jet-black carapace fragments gleaming like obsidian buried the narrow counter, many spilling to the floor. A pungent fishy odor instantly filled the shop. Old John's smile froze. He dropped his file, grabbed a piece of carapace, and a scanning beam shot from his artificial eye. This. Fresh void beetle carapace. And from the hardest part of the abdomen. This cut. Laser. No high-frequency kinetic weapon. Old John jerked his head up, staring at Lin Ye as if seeing the uniformed youth for the first time. Did you rob a city defense transport? That's none of your concern. Lin Ye tapped the counter. 2 tons of carapace and a glutton beetle's acid gland. Name your price. Old John swallowed hard. Had been in the black market for 30 years and had a sharp eye. The cuts were clean, the work of a master, and the freshness indicated a recent kill. This kid was unfathomable. Carapace 300 per kilo. The gland 20000. Total 620000 federal credits. Best price you'll get anywhere else, they'll just rob you. Deal. Lin Ye nodded. The price was higher than he expected. Old John swiftly initiated the transfer, but just as the transaction was about to complete, heavy footsteps echoed from the doorway. Yo, Old John, good business tonight. The voice was sinister. 3 burly men in leather jackets, tattoos of black vipers coiling on their skin, strode in. The leader sported a mohawk, a thick gold chain around his neck, and a bulging waistband that clearly held a weapon. The Black Viper Gang. The most tenacious leeches of this district. Old John's face paled as he forced a smile. Brother Snake patrolling late. It's just a small business. Shut it. The man called Snake kicked a chair aside, his greedy gaze falling on the pile of carapace before settling on Lin Ye. New face, kid. Snake approached, reaching out to clap Lin Ye on the shoulder. Selling goods in the 13th district without paying respects. Lin Ye sidestepped, evading the grimy hand. I'm not in a gang. Hey, got a mouth on you. Snake withdrew his hand, sniffed it, and twisted his face into a savage grin. Not in a gang. Fine. But rules are rules. We take a 50% protection fee on this shipment. 50%. It wasn't just robbery, it was humiliation. Old John started to mediate but was silenced by Snake's vicious glare. Kid, don't be ungrateful. Snake's 2 underlings had already drawn knives, blocking the door. Lin Ye watched, then suddenly smiled. The smile was faint but unsettling. 50%. Lin Ye repeated softly. Too much. Snake sneered. Then leave the goods and get lost. Otherwise there'll be another nameless corpse in the sewers tomorrow. No, I think it's too little. Lin Ye shook his head. He slowly raised his right hand. Since you love money so much, let me send you to hell to count it. Before the words faded, a pitch-black disc materialized in the empty air. Void cloak deactivated. Kinetic cannon preheated. Whir. 6 massive barrels spun wildly in the cramped shop, the wind pressure making Snake's face quiver. The dark muzzles pressed directly against Snake's forehead, less than 10 centimeters away. Snake's pupils shrank to pinpricks as cold sweat erupted. He could even feel the residual heat from the barrels. The temperature of death. Be boss. Snake's voice cracked, his legs trembling uncontrollably. Misunderstanding. Next life, try a better opening line. Lin Ye's eyes were ice cold. Without a moment's hesitation, he fired. Rat-a-tat. The muffled roar of gunfire exploded in the confined space like thunder. But there was no bloodbath. Lin Ye had controlled the output. The bullets grazed Snake's scalp, instantly riddling his 2 underlings behind him. Then the muzzles lowered. Thud. Thud. Snake's knees burst open and he collapsed like a sack of mud, kneeling before Lin Ye. Before a scream could escape, the cold gun barrel was shoved into his mouth. MMPH. MMMPH. Lin Ye leaned down, meeting the eyes brimming with utter terror. Now let's discuss compensation. Hand over all the money on you and your boss vault code. Leave out a single credit and he'll turn you into mincemeat for the dogs. Old John, holding the transfer device, was trembling all over. He stared at the aloof youth, a single thought echoing in his mind: the skies over the lower districts were about to change. In the cramped repair shop, the stench of blood hung thick and suffocating. Snake knelt on the ground, a scorching hot gun barrel rammed into his mouth, his throat emitting only garbled whimpers. His once ferocious eyes now showed only whites, trembling wildly. He wanted to beg for mercy. But the icy touch of metal told him that if his tongue so much as twitched, his head would burst open like a rotten watermelon. The password. Lin Ye's voice was soft, yet it struck Snake's heart like a sledgehammer. He freed one hand, pulled a bloodstained communicator from Snake's pocket, and tossed it onto the counter before Old John. Crack it. Old John shuddered, nearly dropping his tools. He glanced at the kneeling Snake, then at Lin Ye's expressionless face, and gritted his teeth. At this moment, preaching loyalty to the underworld was a death wish. Old John's red electronic eye whirred frantically as his 10 withered mechanical fingers danced across the keyboard, leaving afterimages. This is the Black Serpent Gang's encrypted account with 3 layers of firewall. Sweat beaded on Old John's forehead. Give me 2 minutes. Ugh. Ugh. Snake struggled desperately, trying to stop him. That was his life savings of dirty money, his coffin fund meant to buy a mechanical heart to prolong his own life. Crack. Lin Ye pressed down gently on the gun barrel, snapping 2 of Snake's front teeth. Quiet. Snake went rigid instantly, tears, snot and blood streaming down his face. 2 minutes later. It's cracked. Old John exhaled deeply, staring at the string of numbers on the screen, his eyelids twitching. This bastard is loaded. The account has 1.2 million federal credits. 1.2 million. In the lower district, that was enough to buy the lives of 3 streets worth of people. Lin Ye's expression remained unchanged, as if he had just heard a sum of 100 credits. Transfer it all to me. Done. Done. Old John didn't dare hesitate, swiftly completing the transaction. Watching the balance jump on his wristband, Lin Ye nodded in satisfaction. Adding the 620000 from selling materials, his total assets now near 2 million. Overnight riches. All right, the deal is done. Lin Ye retrieved the Titan core. Snake, pardoned as if from a death sentence, collapsed to the floor, gasping for air, a flicker of venom in his eyes. If he could just walk out alive, he had 100 ways to kill this schoolboy. Put. An extremely soft, muffled thud. A red dot appeared on Snake's forehead. It was the mark left by the Titan core's edge spinning at high speed as it sliced through his skull. The venom froze on his face as his body toppled straight down. Old John was so startled he nearly dove under the counter. You killed him. If you don't pull out the roots, the weeds will grow back when the spring wind blows. Lin Ye's tone was flat, as if he had just crushed a cockroach. He looked at the 3 corpses on the ground and focused his mind. The Titan core split open again, revealing a crimson maw. Activating trait Greedy Alchemy. ZZZZZ, the prosthetics, implants and weapons on the 3 corpses were instantly stripped and dismantled. Dismantled old model mechanical eye. Obtained precision lens X2 microchip X1. Dismantled hydraulic power spine. Obtained source points 50 high strength alloy X10 kg. Dismantled organic biological body. Obtained bioenergy 300. In the blink of an eye, only 3 piles of gray-white powder remained on the ground, with even the bloodstains cleaned away completely. The body disposal was professionally chilling. Lin Ye straightened his collar and looked at the trembling Old John. Shopkeeper, business is done. Tonight I was never here, right? Old John nodded frantically, the mechanical bearings in his neck creaking. Never saw you. I've been fixing things by myself. I've never seen those 3 either. Lin Ye tossed a gold ring he had taken from Snake onto the counter, arcing through the air with precision. This is hush money and a tip. With that, he turned, pushed open the rolling door, and stepped into the pitch-black rainy night. Only when the youth's figure had completely vanished did Old John slump to the floor, gasping for air, his body drenched in cold sweat. He stared at the gold ring on the counter, then at the 3 piles of unclaimed ashes on the ground. This is no student. This is a demon in human skin. Old John trembled as he closed the shop door and hung up a permanently closed sign. He decided to move out that very night. The farther he got from this harbinger of doom, the better. After the rain, the air in the lower district had freshened considerably. Lin Ye did not return directly to the school. Although Star River Academy was an ivory tower, the dormitory conditions for Frank students were far from ideal, crowded and lacking privacy, unsuitable for large-scale enhancement. He found a 24-hour self-service cultivation room on the edge of the commercial district. Swiping his card, he booked the most advanced silence pod. 2,000 federal coins per hour. The old Lin Ye wouldn't have dared to even glance at it, but now he didn't even blink. As the heavy alloy door slowly closed, the clamor of the outside world was completely sealed off. In the center of the room lay a high-tech gravity-adjustable bed. Lin Ye sat cross-legged and summoned the Titan core. The black disk hovered silently, its surface shimmering with a dark purple aura as if anticipating something. System, open the mall. Although the system itself had no mall, Lin Ye opened the Federation's StarNet shopping platform. With money, many things he could only covet before were now within reach. High-concentration energy blocks, military-grade, 50,000 each, give me 20. Ultra-hard titanium alloy plates, 100,000 per ton, give me 5 tons. Precision fire control radar components, 300,000 per set, give me 1 set. Lin Ye's fingers flew across the virtual screen. 2 million federal coins flowed away like water. In less than half an hour, the cultivation room's conveyor belt began to operate, delivering the supplies he had purchased. Gazing at the expensive supplies piled up in the room, Lin Ye took a deep breath. Titan time to eat. V-room. The Titan core emitted a cheerful hum and lunged directly at the stack of energy blocks glowing with a deep blue light. Crunch. Crunch. The rock-hard military energy blocks crumbled like crisp cookies in the Titan's mouth. With each block consumed, the light on the core's surface grew stronger. Devoured high-concentration energy blocks X20. Energy gained 10000 points. Titan core charge progress 100. Detected energy overflow. Initiate core advancement. Advance, Lin Ye said without hesitation. Boom. A metal storm erupted within the cultivation room. The 5 tons of titanium alloy plates soared into the air, twisted by some invisible force field, transforming into a stream of liquid silver metal that surged into the Titan core. The black disk, originally 1 meter in diameter, began to expand and deform violently. Its volume did not increase much, but its density rose exponentially. The black shell gradually peeled away, replaced by a deep gray armor with a cold silver sheen. The structure became more compact, the lines more fluid, exuding a brutal aesthetic. 10 minutes later. The light dissipated. What hovered before Lin Ye was no longer a mere disc or turret. It was a miniature fighter craft, diamond-shaped, about 1.5 meters in diameter. It had 2 pairs of folding razor-sharp wings, an upgraded twin-linked autocannon mounted on the underside, and 2 honeycomb-like micro-missile launchers on its back. Advancement successful. Form updated: Titan Slayer 2nd Form Level LV. 5 Armor 15000 Titanium Alloy Reinforced Energy 50005000 New Weapon Micro Stinger Missile Pod 012 rounds Ammunition must be replenished. New trait: Supersonic Cruise, can break Mach 3 within the atmosphere. Overall assessment: it is now a true aerial killer. Even a light armored vehicle it can tear apart like opening a can. Lin Ye reached out and stroked the cold, smooth fuselage. This sense of power was intoxicating. LV. 5. Lin Ye murmured to himself. After all, even a freshman at Star River Academy, even a rank genius like Zhao Tianyu, after struggling for an entire semester, could at most upgrade their ship to LV. 3. Yet he had done it in just one night. This is not enough. Lin Ye put away the Titan, his gaze piercing through the cultivation room ceiling through thick concrete toward the academy suspended high in the clouds. Tomorrow was the freshman's first mock exam. As per tradition, it would be the stage for geniuses to flaunt their prowess and the execution ground for the week. Zhao Tianyu and that disciplinary director Li Xin were probably waiting to see him make a fool of himself, weren't they? A cold smile curled at the corner of Lin Ye's mouth. He stepped out of the cultivation room. The sky outside was already growing light. The world, once gray, now appeared exceptionally clear to his eyes. Since you want a show, then I'll give you a grand performance. Lin Ye shoved his hands in his pockets and strode toward Star River Academy, facing the dawn. This time he was no longer the failure who walked with his head down. He was the hunter. And those so-called geniuses in the academy were nothing but lambs waiting to be slaughtered in a greenhouse. At dawn, the Star River Academy. Sunlight pierced through the thin clouds, casting its glow upon the vast Spark Plaza. Despite the early hour, the air was already thick with a restless and feverish anticipation. Today marked the first mock examination for the new students. For most who had only awakened their sparks a week ago, this test was not merely an assessment, it was a decree of life or death, determining future class placements, resource allocation, and even whether they could remain in the academy. At the center of the plaza stood 10 colossal silver-white metal pods. These were the holographic tactical simulation pods, capable of replicating alien environments with 100 fidelity and a 50 pane synchronization rate. By now a crowd had already gathered around the pods. Did you hear? The difficulty of this mock exam has been raised. It seems to be because of Zhao Tianyu. He awakened in a great spark and the school wants to test his limits. Man, I envy him. Some are born in Rome, others are born to be beasts of burden. Murmurs and discussions rippled through the crowd. Most eyes were fixed on the VIP lounge at the forefront of the plaza. A few individuals sat there like stars clustered around the moon. At their center was Zhao Tianyu. He wore a custom-made deep blue combat suit and held an expensive energy drink, his demeanor languid and relaxed. Beside him a sleek silver warship model hovered in the air. About 2 meters in length, its surface crackled with arcs of lightning. This was his Thunder frigate. After a week of being lavished with family resources, the ship had already been upgraded to LV. 3. This was a chasm-like lead among the new students. Brother Tianyu, first place is definitely yours this time, a sycophant beside him fawned. That Lin Ye probably doesn't even dare to show up right. I heard he picked up a discarded air pump to use as his warship. What a joke. Zhao Tianyu swirled the drink in his cup, a sneer curling on his lips. Why bring him up? It's bad luck. A bottom feeder destined to work on an assembly line doesn't deserve to be in my conversation. Just then the crowd suddenly fell silent. A path parted automatically. A youth in a washed-out school uniform, hands in his pockets, walked in unhurriedly. Lin Ye. He looked travel-worn with faint dark circles under his eyes as if he had pulled several all-nighters. But the aura he exuded had changed. If the old Lin Ye was gloomy and taciturn, now he was like a sheathed blade. Though its edge was hidden, the coldness emanating from it instinctively made people want to keep their distance. Yo, if it isn't our king of junk collectors. Dean Leeson stood before the simulation pod holding a roster. Seeing Lin Ye, his brow instantly furrowed into a deep scowl. He hadn't expected this waste to actually dare to come. Lin Ye, what are you doing here? Leeson slapped the roster against his palm. This is a mock exam venue, not a scrapyard. What about your gas can? Didn't bring it. A burst of laughter erupted around them. Zhao Tianyu turned his head, looking at Lin Ye with a jeer. Probably too heavy to carry, right? Lin Ye, want me to lend you a handcart? Lin Ye stopped. He lifted his eyelids, his gaze sweeping across Li Xin and Zhao Tianyu's faces. There was no anger. Only a calm gaze reserved for the dead. I'm here to take the exam, Lin Ye said, his voice not loud but steady. According to school rules, anyone with a spark is qualified to participate in the mock exam. Dean, are you trying to openly violate the rules? Li Xin was choked, his face instantly turning crimson. Fine. Very well. Li Xin let out a series of cold laughs. I was giving you a chance to leave with some dignity. Since you don't appreciate it, don't blame me for being ruthless. He quickly operated the holographic screen. Lin Ye, ID number 9527. Your exam batch is the last group. Exam content: hold the line for 10 minutes. If you can last 10 minutes without being killed by the monsters, you pass. At this, Leeson lowered his voice, a hint of malice flashing in his eyes. But I must warn you, the monster data for this simulation is imported from real battlefields. Though it's virtual, the pain is real. Don't end up wetting your pants and crying for mommy. Lin Ye completely ignored his nonsense. He reached out and swiped his ID card on the check-in terminal. Beep. Identity confirmed. Student Lin Ye. Spark rating F junk. Current status activated. Seeing that glaring F, Zhao Tianyu laughed even more gleefully. He walked up to Lin Ye and said in a voice only the two of them could hear, Lin Ye, open your eyes wide and watch closely. I'll show you the difference between heaven and earth. After the exam, I will personally apply to the school to expel you, this piece of trash dragging down the academy's average. Lin Ye finally looked him straight in the eye. Zhao Tianyu. Your forehead is dark. It's not a good day for you to show off. Lin Ye finished speaking, brushed past him and walked straight towards the preparation area in the corner. Zhao Tianyu stood frozen, his face turning a livid green. You're asking for death. Since you want to embarrass yourself, I'll grant your wish. Zhao Tianyu turned and strode towards the No.1 simulation pod. Dean, I want to go first. Activate the highest difficulty. The entire audience was in an uproar. Highest difficulty. That meant facing a beast tide. Li Xin immediately put on a fawning smile. No problem. I'll arrange it for you right away. Let some clueless waste see what a true genius looks like. A massive holographic projection lit up above the plaza. In the image, Zhao Tianyu's thunder frigate hovered majestically over a wasteland. Countless void larvae howled as they charged forward. The battle was about to commence. Lin Ye sat on a bench in the corner, closing his eyes to rest. He didn't even bother to look up. An LV-3 frigate. That kind of toy. Last night in the sewers he had dismantled countless carapaces harder than it. He was waiting. Waiting for these clowns to finish their act. Then he would smash the stage to pieces. In the projection above, the square lightning flickered. It must be said that Zhao Tianyu indeed had some capital to boast about. Although the core circuit of that LV-3 Thunderclap frigate had hidden damage, its firepower was quite ferocious under the blessing of an erranked talent. Streaks of blue electric arcs lashed into the swarm like whips. Each flash could claim the lives of 2 or 3 void larvae. So powerful. Is this the might of an erranked spark? The thunder attribute has a built-in paralysis effect. Its crowd control is simply unmatched. Only 5 minutes in and he's already killed 50. Isn't this the level of an outstanding graduate from previous years? The watching cadets erupted in waves of astonishment. Li Xin was grinning from ear to ear as if the one wreaking havoc up there was his own son. See that? This is talent. Li Xin commented loudly, but his gaze deliberately drifted toward Lin Ye in the corner. Some things can't be picked up from the trash. 10 minutes later. The assessment ended. Cadet Zhao Tianyu. Result: killed 89 void larvae, duration 10 minutes. Rating S. The hatch opened and Zhao Tianyu walked out drenched in sweat. Though exhausted, the smugness on his face was unmistakable. Rank. This was the best freshman record in the Stellar Academy in the past 3 years. Congratulations, Brother Tianyu. From now on, Brother Tianyu will be our freshman leader. Amid the flattery, Zhao Tianyu shot a provocative glance at Lin Ye. Your turn, trash. Li Xin also chimed in at the right moment. Next group, Lin Ye. Get in the pod. The once lively square fell silent. Everyone watched with a sense of schadenfreude as the slender figure walked toward simulation pod No. 10. Lin Ye entered the pod. As the hydraulic door closed, the world around him instantly transformed. A desolate ruin simulated battlefield appeared before him. The air was thick with a virtual smell of sulfur. Assessment begins. First wave void larvae X10. Please summon your warship. Lin Ye stood in the center of the wasteland, his expression calm. He slowly raised his right hand. Come forth, Titan. There was no dazzling light, no flashy effects. The air twisted slightly. A dark gray diamond-shaped metal construct materialized out of thin air. It wasn't the rusty gas canister everyone had imagined. On the contrary, it exuded a cold industrial aesthetic. Streamlined fuselage, folded side wings, and a menacing 6-barreled rotary cannon at the bottom. Outside the square, the crowd before the holographic screen was stunned. What is that? Where's the gas canister? How did it turn into this? I bet it's just a sheet of iron wrapped around it. Or maybe he replaced the exhaust pump with a frisbee. Zhao Tianyu sneered, all for show. No matter how flashy the exterior and frank core is still garbage. This structure can't mount heavy firepower, it's just a large drone. Li Xin also shook his head. Nonsense. This kind of modification only adds weight and reduces maneuverability. Watch, the first wave will tear him apart. In the projection, 10 void larvae screeched as they burrowed out of the ground, their fanged maws wide open, lunging at Lin Ye. Distance 50 meters. Lin Ye didn't even flinch. He simply issued a command in his mind. Clear the area. Whir. The cannon at the bottom of the Titan core instantly began to spin. The next second, a torrent of orange flame erupted a meter long. It wasn't a burst of fire. It was a deluge of metal storm. 20 mm kinetic warheads imbued with terrifying tearing properties instantly blanketed the fan-shaped area ahead. Thud. 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 The 10 void larvae that had just emerged didn't even have time to scream. They were blown apart midair into a mist of blood. Limbs and body parts flew everywhere. The entire process took less than 2 seconds. The square was dead silent. Those who had been mocking him had their mouths wide open as if they could swallow an egg. Li Xian's water cup slipped from his hand and shattered on the ground. What? What rate of fire is that? How can an Frank Spark have such firepower? But this was only the beginning. Second wave void larvae X30. The system didn't even give the audience time to react. 30 monsters surged forth. The Titan hovered in midair, adjusting its angle slightly. The tongue of flame spewed again. It was like an eraser sweeping across a drawing. Those monsters were like paper, shattering at the slightest touch, exploding on impact. 5 seconds. Total annihilation. Third wave void larvae X50 engineer bugs X5. Engineer bugs were tough and thick-skinned, a nightmare for freshmen. Earlier, Zhao Tianyu had to slowly grind them down with thunder paralysis. Yet before Lin Ye switched to armor-piercing rounds, Lin Ye murmured softly. The roar of the Titan's cannon became deeper. Bang. 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 Their once vaunted thick carapaces were as fragile as biscuits before the modified kinetic cannon. Every round precisely drilled into the engineer bug's skulls, blowing off their craniums. A massacre. This was an utter massacre. Lin Ye stood still, hands in his pockets, not having moved a single step from his original position. He was like a bored spectator watching his warship perform an art of violence. 9 minutes. Only 9 minutes had passed. The originally set 10-minute assessment time hadn't even elapsed, but there wasn't a single monster left alive on the battlefield. The system even experienced a brief lag. Because it couldn't find any more monsters to spawn. Warning. Examiner's kill speed is too fast. Triggering hidden boss stage glutton beetle LV. 3 elite. A massive black beetle projection crashed to the ground, letting out a deafening roar. This was a test monster originally prepared for the graduating class. It's over. He's dead for sure. Zhao Tianyu clutched at a lifeline. This is an elite monster, its defense is Before he could finish, Lin Ye glanced up at the giant beetle. Too noisy. The honeycomb missile pod on the Titan's back snapped open. 2 miniature Stinger missiles trailing white exhaust screamed out. Whoosh, boom. Precisely hitting the beetle's wide-open maw. Flames shot into the sky. Half of the glutton beetle's head was blown away and its massive body collapsed. One-shot kill. The entire venue was dead silent. Only the young man inside the simulation pod gently brushed the non-existent dust off his sleeve. Assessment ends. Cadet Lin Ye. Result killed. Data overflow. Rating SSS unprecedented. The hatch opened. Lin Ye stepped out, meeting the terrified, dumbfounded, and life-questioning gazes of everyone. He looked at Zhao Tianyu, whose face was as pale as paper and a faint smirk curled at the corner of his mouth. Is this what you meant by a world of difference? Sorry. I slipped just now and seem to have crushed your record. The hatch of the simulation pod slowly opened, white mist spilling out through the gaps. Lin Ye stepped out, his footsteps echoing with startling clarity across the deathly silent plaza. Silence reigned all around. Thousands of cadets and dozens of instructors stood frozen, their eyes wide as saucers fixed on the glaring SSS displayed on the massive screen. Data overflow. This was an evaluation never before seen since the founding of the Stellar River Academy. Impossible. A sharp-piercing shriek shattered the silence. Academic Director Lin rushed to the control console, his finger trembling as he pointed at the screen, the fat on his face twitching violently. Cheating. This is definitely cheating. He spun around, glaring venomously at Lin Ye, spittle flying. Lin Ye. What method did you use to tamper with the data? How could Grade Spark possess such firepower? Those were glutton beetles. Even a standard military light mech would struggle for a long time, and you destroyed them with 2 missiles. Do you take me for a fool? Zhao Tianyu also snapped out of his shock, clutching at this lifeline like a drowning man. That's right. Director, I request a thorough investigation. His Spark was clearly a discarded air pump. How could it transform into that kind of aircraft? He must be carrying illegal external modifications. The crowd began to stir. Although Lin Ye's performance was stunning, the idea of Grade Spark dominating the field defied all their common sense. Exactly, it's just too absurd. Could he have hacked the simulation system? Waves of doubt surged forth. Standing at the epicenter of the storm, Lin Ye's expression remained as calm as a stagnant pool. He watched the frantic Lin, a mocking smile curling at the corner of his mouth. Director Li, are you questioning the Academy's mainframe or your own eyes? Save your nonsense. Lin waved his hand, a flash of malice in his eyes. Guards. Detain Lin Ye. Confiscate his Spark for disassembly and inspection. If any illegal modifications are found, send him to the federal police immediately. 2 guards hesitated for a moment before drawing their electriston batons and closing in. Disassemble the Spark. That was the lifeblood of a mech pilot. Forcible disassembly would surely destroy it. Lin intended to ruin him completely. A flash of icy, killing intent gleamed in Lin Ye's eyes. The Titan hunter hovered beside him, sensing its master's bloodlust, its 6-barreled cannon beginning to rotate slowly, emitting a low hum. Just as the conflict was about to erupt. Enough. An aged yet authoritative voice suddenly echoed across the plaza. He used no amplifier, yet his voice reached every ear, clearly carrying a spiritual pressure that made hearts pound. The crowd looked up. On the viewing platform of the 2nd floor, the usually sealed French windows had somehow opened. An old man in a gray Zhongshan suit stood with his hands behind his back. His hair and beard were white as snow, but his eyes were piercingly bright. On his chest was pinned a purple gold badge, the insignia of a retired federal major general. The Dean of Stellar River Academy, Qin Wujiang. Dean. Lisan's arrogance instantly deflated, cold sweat pouring down his face. You. What brings you here? Qin Wujiang ignored him. Instead, he leaped directly from the 2nd floor. Landing from a height of over 10 meters, he touched the ground as silently as a falling leaf. He walked straight up to Lin Ye, his eyes, which seemed capable of seeing through a person's soul, fixed intently on the Titan hunter hovering in the air. After a full half-minute of scrutiny, a glint of admiration which soon turned into profound appreciation flashed in Qin Wujiang's eyes. A perfect mechanical structure, ultimate kinetic energy conversion. No illegal modifications, no data tampering. Qin Wujiang turned to survey the crowd, his voice booming. The mainframe data is correct. This is the most brilliant modification I have ever seen. The entire plaza erupted in uproar. The Dean's personal seal of approval. Who dared to question it now? Zhao Tianyu's face turned the color of liver, his fists clenched so tight his knuckles cracked, yet he dared not utter another word. Lin Ye bowed slightly. Thank you for your justice, Dean. No need to thank me. The strength is your own. Qin Wujiang patted Lin Ye on the shoulder, then swept a cold gaze over Li Sen. Director Li, as the academic director to wantonly dismantle a cadet's spark without distinguishing right from wrong, has your professionalism been devoured by dogs? Li Sen's legs gave way in terror, nearly collapsing to his knees. Dean, I was just trying to uphold the fairness of the exam. Fairness. Lin Ye suddenly spoke. He stepped forward, approaching Li Sen, a playful glint in his eyes. Director Li, if I recall correctly, on the day of the awakening ceremony you made a statement in front of the entire school. If I could awaken a warship from the scrapyard, you said you would eat that desk. Lin Ye pointed to the sturdy solid wood office desk on the proctor's platform not far away. Now I've not only awakened it, but I've also come first. Director, time to fulfill your promise. The air solidified. Everyone's gaze converged on Li Sen. Eat a desk. That desk was solid wood with an alloy frame. Eating it would surely kill a man, wouldn't it? Li Sen's face turned ashen. He looked pleadingly at the dean. Dean, this was just a joke. Qin Wujiang's face was expressionless. The first rule of the Stellar River Academy motto: keep your word. Since you said it, you must honor it. Li Sen was in despair. He looked into Lin Ye's impassive eyes and knew that if he didn't pay a price today, this matter wouldn't end. I can't eat a desk. Li Sen gritted his teeth, pulled a gold card from his pocket and placed it on the table with trembling hands. There are 2,000,000 federal credits here. Consider this. Consider this my apology. It was the illicit money he had skimmed over several years at the academy. Lin Ye glanced at the gold card. He didn't take it. Titan. Whir. The black fighter jet flashed past in an instant. A glint of cold light. A corner of the solid wood office desk the size of a palm was cleanly sliced off. Lin Ye picked up the piece of wood and threw it at Li Sen's feet. I won't make it hard for you. Eat this piece, leave the money, and this matter is over. Li Sen looked at the wood block at his feet, then at the countless eyes around him filled with mockery and schadenfreude. His dignity was shattered into pieces at that moment. But he had no choice. Under the dean's icy stare, Li Sen picked up the wood block with trembling hands, forced it into his mouth, mixed with tears of humiliation and blood, chewed forcefully and swallowed. Get lost. Qin Wujiang waved his hand. Li Sen, as if receiving a pardon, scrambled away from the plaza, not even daring to take the gold card. Lin Ye bent down, picked up the gold card, blew off the dust, and pocketed it. His movements were as natural as picking up his own lost money. All right, the farce is over. Qin Wujiang looked at Lin Ye, a deeper smile in his eyes. Lin Ye, come with me to my office. We need to have a good talk about your reward. Lin Ye nodded. Under the gaze of countless envious and jealous eyes, he followed the dean towards the administration building. Only Zhao Tianyi remained rooted to the spot, his eyes filled with venom fixed on Lin Ye's retreating back. Lin Ye. Just you wait. He pulled out his communicator and dialed an encrypted number. Hello, second uncle. Help me kill someone. The dean's office was situated on the top floor of the administrative building, its floor-to-ceiling windows offering a panoramic view of the entire Star River Academy, even the towering space elevator in the distance. Qin Wujiang, seated in a spacious leather chair, personally poured a cup of tea for Lin Ye. An SS-level rating, breaking the Academy's 30-year record. Qin Wujiang cut straight to the chase. Lin Ye, although your Spark's initial rating is F, its growth potential is terrifying. That devourability must be some kind of mutated trait, right? What a sly old fox, Lin Ye thought to himself. Although the secret of the Titan core was concealed by his system, the manifested trait of consuming metal was impossible to hide. Yes, Lin Ye admitted generously. It can self-repair and strengthen by devouring metal. Good. Qin Wujiang nodded, not probing further. Everyone has their secrets. The Academy will not pry into its students' privacy. As long as you are human and your cannons are aimed at the alien races, that is sufficient. He pulled a file from his drawer and slid it across the desk to Lin Ye. This is the contract for an elite cadet. Once you sign, the Academy will provide you with a full scholarship, grant you access to the A-level resource library, and can even apply for a decommissioned cruiser as your hull. But the condition is that upon graduation you must join the Federation's Third Fleet and serve for 10 years. The terms were tempting. For an ordinary student, this was a shortcut to the top. Yet Lin Ye didn't even glance at it. He pushed the file right back. Sorry, Dean. I want sign. Qin Wujiang was taken aback, seemingly not expecting such a blunt refusal. Not satisfied with the conditions? Or you just don't want to serve? Neither. Lin Ye shook his head, his tone calm. I don't want to be bound. My warship is something only I can afford to maintain. The Academy's resources are good, but there are too many rules. Joining the military. That meant handing over all spoils of war, obeying orders, and sacrificing for the so-called greater good. With his system, Lin Ye was destined to be a lone wolf. What he needed wasn't a babysitter but a hunting ground. Qin Wujiang stared at Lin Ye for a long moment, then suddenly laughed. You've got personality. There aren't many young people as wild as you anymore. He took back the file unbothered. Since you want sign, let's discuss the rewards for this assessment. According to regulations, first place in the simulation exam gets 2,000 source points, 1 ton of crate alloy N. 1 chance to enter the Starfire Armory to pick a module. Lin Ye's eyes lit up. Although he wasn't short on source points or alloy now that Starfire Armory was a treasure trove. It was the Academy's vault of modules left behind by warships of past generations, rumored to even contain fragments of ancient civilizations. However, Qin Wujiang changed his tone. Since you've refused the elite contract, I can't pull any strings for you. You can enter the armory, but you can only choose from the outer layer. Whether you find anything good depends entirely on your eye. Deal. Lin Ye didn't hesitate. Rely on his eye. With his eye of insight, he feared no challenge in discerning value. Half an hour later, Lin Ye stood before a massive time-worn warehouse holding a black magnetic card. The Starfire Armory. The heavy alloy doors slowly ground open, releasing a wave of stale machine oil. Inside the colossal warehouse were thousands upon thousands of shelves. Piled high upon them were all manner of bizarre mechanical parts, broken cannon barrels, and dim energy cores. Most of these were defective items recovered from battlefields or ancient relics past their prime. To an ordinary person, this was just an upscale junkyard. But in Lin Ye's eyes, it was paradise. Scanning initiated. A torrent of data streamed across his retina. Item damage, laser generator evaluation, junk item, second-gen ion engine incomplete, evaluation, repair cost exceeds manufacturing cost, junk item, unknown metal fragment, evaluation, hardness acceptable, recommend. Devouring. Lin Ye walked past, his brow slightly furrowed. The outer layer truly had nothing good, most of it was genuine scrap. Just as he reached the deepest part of the warehouse, preparing to randomly pick some precious metal to devour and be done with it, the system's notification tone suddenly became urgent. Ding. Detected special energy fluctuation. Location lower shelf on the left, third box. Lin Ye's heart leaped and he strode over quickly. That corner was thick with dust, holding an unremarkable rusted iron box. A label was stuck to the box: unknown sphere, suspected ancient recreational device, no energy response. Lin Ye wiped away the dust and opened the box. Inside lay a dull fist-sized stone ball. It looked like a solid marble sphere. But in Lin Ye's field of vision, this stone ball radiated a dazzling orange light. Item: gravity well generator, prototype grade S, ancient relic, status dormant, requires specific frequency to activate, function can generate a high-intensity gravity field with a diameter of 500 meters up to 50 times standard gravity. Can be used to bind enemies or simulate gravity within a warship. Evaluation: this isn't for working out. In front of it, flying units are birds with broken wings. Gravity control. Lin Ye's breath hitched instantly. This was a godly ability for control. What the Titan Hunter lacked most was the means to pin down enemies. Although its firepower was fierce against extremely fast enemies, it was easy to get kite. With this gravity well, once an enemy entered its range, there was no escape. This is the one. Lin Ye grabbed the stone ball and tucked it into his arms. As he turned to leave the armory, the old guard glanced at the broken stone in his hand and shook his head. Kids these days passing up a perfectly good laser sword for a broken rock as a paperweight. Must have a screw loose. Lin Ye just smiled, offering no explanation. The joy of finding a hidden gem was often this simple and unadorned. Stepping out of the academy gates, Lin Ye checked the time on his wristband. 3 in the afternoon. Got resources. Got a module. Now it's time for real combat. He looked towards the rolling mountains in the distance. That was the glass hunting zone designated by the Federation, a true meat grinder. Lin Ye felt the Titan core against his chest, a flicker of bloodlust in his eyes. Zhao Tian, you definitely won't let this slide. Since that's the case, he'll set the battlefield in the wilderness. It's more convenient for burying people there. Hunting Zone F09 of the Federation, commonly known as the Boneyard Wasteland. It lies merely 300 kilometers from the floating city where the Stellar Academy is located, yet it feels like a world apart. The sky was perpetually shrouded by lead-gray radiation clouds. The ground was rugged with jagged rocks, the reddish-brown soil soaked with the blood of countless explorers and mutated beasts over the past century. A battered magnetic levitation off-road vehicle sped across the gravel road, kicking up clouds of yellow sand. Lin Ye sat in the driver's seat, one hand resting on the steering wheel. The Titan Hunter was in stealth mode, hovering like a ghost 10 meters above the vehicle. On his retina, the system radar interface glowed with a faint blue light. Warning: persistent tracking signal detected 2 kilometers behind. Number of targets 3. Vehicle type modified Hound assault vehicles. Threat assessment moderate. Lin Ye glanced at the rearview mirror. There was only rolling dust, not a single vehicle in sight. They were cautious, using optical camouflage and maintaining the extreme limit of radar range. A seasoned move. Zhao Tianyu moves fast, he thought. Without a trace of panic, Lin Ye pulled a nutrient pack from the storage compartment, bit off the cap and tilted his head back to drink. The feeling of being hunted was something he hadn't experienced in a long time. But he was no prey. He was here to stock up. 5 kilometers ahead, entering Echo Canyon, Lin Ye noted as he checked the map. The terrain there was complex, the magnetic field chaotic, a natural graveyard for murder and robbery. It was also the perfect stage to test his new toy, the gravity well. He slammed the accelerator. The off-road vehicle's engine roared, a blue flame jetting from the rear, and its speed instantly shot up to 300 kilometers per hour, plunging into the eerie canyon entrance ahead. 2 kilometers away. The air twisted slightly as 3 assault vehicles painted to match the rocky landscape revealed themselves. The target is accelerating, a hoarse voice crackled over the comms. Did he spot us? A freshly awakened student kid. He couldn't spot shit, another voice flippant and mocking chuckled. Probably his first time out of the city, scared shitless, looking for a place to hide. Uncle, this job's too easy. And that young Master Zhao is paying $500,000. The man called Uncle sat in the passenger seat of the lead vehicle. A vicious scar ran from his brow down to his chin, and he toyed with a large caliber kinetic pistol in his hand. Don't get careless, the Scarface said, his eyes cold. The kid scored an SSS in the simulation exam. I don't know how he pulled it off, but there's definitely something off about him. Even a lion uses its full strength when hunting a rabbit. Come on, Uncle, the flippant man dismissed. The sim exam was just fighting data monsters. Out here it's real steel and blood. That rust bucket of his, I could blow it to scrap with one shot. Speed up. Catch him, Scarface ordered. Cut him off before he gets deep into the canyon. Too many mutated beasts in there, it'll be a hassle. All 3 assault vehicles engaged their afterburners, simultaneously shooting towards the canyon like arrows from a bow. 2 minutes later. Deep within Echo Canyon. Here cliffs 100 meters high flanked both sides, leaving only a narrow passage. Due to magnetic interference, electronic devices emitted a series of piercing noises. Lin Ye's vehicle was stopped in the middle of the road. He had turned off the engine and was leaning against the door, lighting a cheap cigarette. Amidst the swirling smoke, his demeanor was unusually languid. Screech. The harsh sound of brakes echoed. 3 assault vehicles formed a triangle, trapping Lin Ye in the center. Before the dust had even settled, the heavy machine guns on their roofs had already locked onto his head. Doors swung open. 7 or 8 heavily armed mercenaries jumped out. The scarred leader stepped forward, his eyes scanning the surroundings like a hawk. Confirming no ambush, he turned his gaze to Lin Ye. Car trouble? Scarface asked, feigning ignorance, a cruel smile playing on his lips like a cat toying with a mouse. Lin Ye exhaled a puff of smoke. No trouble, he said, flicking off the ash. His gaze drifted past Scarface to the mercenaries behind him. I was waiting for you. A moment of silence fell over the scene. Then a burst of raucous laughter erupted. The flippant man laughed the loudest, brandishing an alloy battle blade as he pointed at Lin Ye. Waiting for your daddy, are you? Kid, are you scared out of your mind? Do you even know who we are? Lin Ye shook his head. No. And it doesn't matter. He dropped the cigarette butt and crushed it under his heel. What matters is, did you bring enough money? Scarface's brow furrowed sharply. Something was wrong. The kid's eyes were too calm. It was a look he had seen before in the eyes of the most formidable butchers in the lower city. It was the look you give the dead. Move. Kill him now. Scarface's unease exploded into a sharp roar. But he was a step too late. Lin Ye slowly raised his right hand palm up, making a grasping motion. Since you're here, he said, then none of you are leaving. Whom? A visible orange ripple erupted from Lin Ye, spreading outwards in an instant. The air seemed to solidify in an instant. The frivolous man who had been roaring with laughter found his smile frozen on his face. He felt as if a mountain had descended without warning, crushing down upon his shoulders. A sharp crack. It was the sound of a kneecap shattering. Ah! The frivolous man let out a miserable scream, collapsing uncontrollably to his knees. He braced himself with his hands on the ground, veins bulging on his neck like writhing earthworms. He was not alone. Every mercenary present, and even the 3 assault vehicles weighing several tons, emitted a grating metallic groan simultaneously. Bang! 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 A dozen burly men fell to their knees in unison. The suspension systems of the assault vehicles snapped instantly, their chassis crashing heavily onto the gravel, kicking up a cloud of dust. Gravity well generator prototype has been activated. Current multiplier 10x gravity. Coverage radius 500 meters. Lin Ye stood at the epicenter of the gravity field. He was the sole exception. The ripples of gravity flowed obediently around him, not even disturbing the hem of his clothes. What kind of sorcery is this? The scarred man was the only anomaly. His expensive exoskeleton armor blared overload warnings, hydraulic rods hissing as they strained to bear part of the pressure. Yet he remained utterly immobile, barely able to maintain a half-kneeling posture, staring at the youth in sheer terror. Gravity control. This was an ability only possible with core modules from cruiser-class ships. How could a frank novice possess such a strategic weapon? Sorcery. Lin Ye strode forward, each step crushing their dignity beneath his feet as he approached the scarred man. This is called science. Lin Ye looked down at him. Didn't Zhao Tianyu tell you? My warship has a bit of a temper. Titan. Reveal. The air above rippled like water. The deep gray Titan hunter slowly decloaked, hovering in the void. It hung over them like a steel raptor from the abyss, the muzzles of its six-barreled autocannon aimed directly at the scarred man's brow. This time no warm-up was needed. No. Don't kill me. The scarred man completely broke down. Under 10 times gravity he lacked even the strength to raise his gun, let alone fight back. This was a dimensional crushing. Numbers meant nothing in the face of absolute control. I'm an elite captain of the Black Serpent Gang. Kill me and they won't let you go. The scarred man roared hoarsely, trying to intimidate his opponent with a last resort. Lin Ye tilted his head. Black Serpent Gang. Oh, what a coincidence. A cold smile curled at the corner of Lin Ye's mouth. I killed 3 of yours last night. Perfect chance to send you all to reunite. Before the words faded, the missile pods on the Titan hunter's back snapped open. Whoosh. Whoosh. 2 micro-missiles trailing fiery tails precisely bored into the underbellies of the 2 rear assault vehicles. Boom. Flames erupted skyward. 2 massive firework displays. The supplies, ammunition, and the few mercenaries scrambling back into the vehicles were instantly reduced to ash. The shockwave rolled but was ruthlessly pinned to the ground by the gravity field, forming an eerie ring of fire hugging the earth. Killed Black Serpent Gang Mercenary X6. Talent source doubling triggered. Obtained source points 6,000. Lin Ye didn't even glance at the explosion. He fixed his gaze on the scarred man before him and the frivolous man who had passed out from pain. Now let's play a little game of questions and answers. Lin Ye crouched down, pulling the kinetic pistol from the scarred man's holster and twirling it in his hand. How much did Zhao Tianyu pay you? F500,000. The scarred man stammered, his teeth chattering. Only 500,000. Lin Ye shook his head in disappointment. My life is worth so little. Bang. A gunshot rang out. The frivolous man who had just regained consciousness had his head blown open. Killed Black Serpent Gang minor leader. Obtained source points 2,000. The scarred man was terrified out of his wits, his pants instantly soaked. A demon. This was absolutely a demon. Killing without blinking, reducing things to ashes amidst laughter. This wasn't a student, this was a savage beast in human skin. Don't kill me. I have money. I have intel. The scarred man cowed out frantically, his forehead bloodied by the gravel. I know Zhao Tianyu's secrets. He put a bounty on you in the black market. Not just us, but the Night Owl assassin group is also heading this way. Night Owl. Lin Ye narrowed his eyes. That was a real professional killer organization, far more skilled than these thugs. It seemed Zhao Tianyu was dead set on destroying him. Good. Lin Ye stood up. This piece of intel is worth an intact corpse. The scarred man didn't have time to process the meaning. The autocannon above roared to life. Rat-a-tat-tat. The scarred man's body was instantly riddled with holes. Killed Black Serpent Gang elite captain. Obtained source points 5,000. Trait greedy alchemy triggered, plundered word fragment basic toughness 15. Total annihilation. Lin Ye waved his hand and the gravity field dissipated instantly. Gazing at the wreckage and corpses, he deftly initiated cleanup mode. The Titan core split open like a gaping maw, a red light sweeping across the field. The expensive wreckage of the assault vehicles, the exoskeleton armor, and the weapons on the bodies all turned into nutrients for evolution. Decomposed modified assault vehicle X3. Obtained refined alloy X 5 tons, source points 1,500. Decomposed exoskeleton armor. Obtained micro-hydraulic motor X2 titanium alloy X 50 kg. Account balance increased 850000 Federation credits transfer cracked. In less than 5 minutes the canyon was spotless, as if no one had ever been there. Only the lingering smell of gunpowder in the air bore witness to the slaughter that had just occurred. Lin Ye glanced at the map on his wristband. There were still 30 kilometers to the route the Night Owl might take. Since they're coming, let's not keep them waiting. Lin Ye jumped into his undamaged off-road vehicle. The engine roared. He didn't flee. Instead, he turned the wheel and drove deeper into the wilderness. That was where the true hunting ground lay. Deep within Echo Canyon, the wind howled like the wails of ghosts and wolves. An off-road vehicle jolted forward over a gravel-strewn riverbed. Lin Ye gripped the steering wheel with one hand while the other tapped lightly on the console. On the radar screen, 3 red dots lingered at a distance, neither closing in nor falling behind. Patient Lin Ye muttered, glancing at the rearview mirror. The pursuers maintained absolute safe distance, using the terrain for cover, almost never exposing themselves to view. This was entirely different from the Black Snake Gang thugs who had charged in with mindless howls. Professionals. Titan activate full spectrum jamming. A silent electromagnetic pulse emanated from the Titan hunter hovering invisibly above the vehicle. The off-road vehicle's taillights flickered twice before going completely dark, the entire machine seeming to melt into the canyon's shadows. 2 kilometers away. Inside a pitch-black hover combat vehicle with no reflective coding signal lost. The observer in the driver's seat, wearing tactical goggles, spoke in an icy tone. The target activated electronic jamming. His equipment is more advanced than the intelligence suggested. In the back seat, a man was wiping down a long sniper rifle. His codename was Scorpion, the golden hunter of the Night Owl assassin group. Those Black Snake idiots lost contact. Scorpion asked without raising his head. Lost contact 10 minutes ago. The drone feed shows only ashes and tire tracks at the scene. Confirmed total annihilation. Scorpion's hand paused as he wiped the gun. Total annihilation. No signs of gunfire. None. The scene is clean, as if vaporized by heavy firepower ore. The observer hesitated. Devoured by something. Scorpion narrowed his eyes, a cruel smirk curling at the corner of his mouth. Interesting. That Zhao family brat said the target was Justin Frank, awakened student. Looks like we've all been played. He chambered around with a sharp click, the muzzle glowing with a faint blue light. But this makes the price worthwhile. Activate thermal imaging tracking. He can't escape. Ahead lies Dead Man's Slope, a dead end. Dead Man's Slope was a bottleneck-shaped terrain enclosed on 3 sides by mountains with only a narrow entrance. Due to intense magnetic anomalies, low-level void creatures often roamed here. Lin Ye's vehicle stopped beneath the deepest cliff face. He got out, leaned against the hood, and toyed with the dull-looking gravity well generator in his hand. This isn't a bad burial ground. Lin Ye surveyed his surroundings. The towering rock walls formed a natural prison. Once the entrance was sealed, no one could fly out. Warning. High-energy reaction detected approaching. Target: Night Owl Assassin Group Modified Hover Combat Vehicle. Quantity 1. Threat level C, armor-piercing capability. As the system alert faded, the light at the canyon entrance twisted. The black hover combat vehicle deactivated its optical camouflage, silently blocking the only exit like a dark panther. The door slid open. 3 figures in full coverage nano combat suits stepped out. No words, no threats. They spread out in tactical formation, their weapons instantly locking onto Lin Ye's forehead, heart, and lower abdomen. Scorpion in the middle raised a hand and made a cutting gesture. They even skipped the surrender phase. They came to kill, not to chat. Bang. Scorpion's sniper rifle roared first. A special armor-piercing incendiary round tore through the air at 3 times the speed of sound, aimed straight for Lin Ye's head. Such a bullet could pierce light tank armor. Hitting a human would instantly blast the upper body into pulp. Lin Ye stood still, not even blinking. Just as the bullet was about to touch his brow, a crisp metallic clang rang out. Sparks flew in the air. A hexagonal azure energy shield materialized in front of Lin Ye, blocking the lethal strike. Void shield passive trigger, kinetic damage offset 1500 points. Energy consumption 2. The bullet deformed and fell to the ground. Lin Ye blew on the non-existent smoke before him, looking at the stunned Scorpion, and flashed a row of neat white teeth. So this is a professional killer's greeting. Too light. Scorpion's pupils contracted sharply. An energy shield. That was a configuration only found on frigate-class vessels. Wasn't this kid frank? This target is tough. Open fire with full force. Scorpion roared while nimbly rolling behind a massive boulder. Rat-a-tat-tat. The assault rifles of the other 2 assassins spewed flames, a dense hail of bullets instantly covering Lin Ye's position. Lin Ye did not dodge. He simply tossed the stone ball lightly in his hand. Since you're here, don't run off. Gravity while full power. Hum. An orange ripple far more terrifying and oppressive than before at the canyon mouth erupted from Lin Ye, sweeping across a radius of 500 meters. This time it wasn't tenfold. It was 20-fold. Crack! A sickening sound echoed through the air. It was not the snap of a twig but the sound of bones shattering under extreme pressure. The scorpion mid-tactical roll was still airborne when an invisible giant hand slammed him down with brutal force. Bang! He crashed onto the ground in a spread eagle position. The hard rock surface instantly cracked, sending fragments flying. Ah! A piercing scream escaped the scorpion's lips. His prized nanosuit blared an overload alarm. The built-in hydraulic skeleton twisted and deformed under 20 times the gravity had turned into a torture device biting into his flesh. The other two assassins fared even worse. Without the scorpion's advanced gear, they were instantly crushed to their knees. One moving too abruptly suffered a shattered kneecap with bone shards piercing through his pant leg. Gravity. Control. The scorpion lay prone, his cheek pressed into the rubble, blood seeping from the corner of his mouth. He struggled to lift his eyelids, staring at the tall upright youth who remained motionless. Fear, an unprecedented wave of fear, engulfed him like a tide. This was no prey. It was a star beast in human guise. How could a strategic-grade module like gravity control appear on a novice? Not even elite squads of the regular army possessed such monstrous equipment. Now can we talk properly? Lin Ye walked over. The gravity field had no effect on him. He strolled as if in his own courtyard, each step landing like a blow to the scorpion's heart. Who the hell are you? The scorpion forced out the words with all his might. Lin Ye did not answer. He stopped before the scorpion, looking down at the once arrogant top-tier assassin. Who I am doesn't matter. What matters is your current price tag. Lin Ye snapped his fingers. Titan harvest. Above, the air rippled like water. The dark gray Titan hunter materialized, hovering 3 meters off the ground. Its 6-barreled cannon was already preheated, the dark muzzles radiating a chilling aura of death. No. Wait. I can buy my life. I have. The scorpion's plea was cut short. Rat-a-tat-a-tat. Flames spewed forth. Under 20 times the gravity, the 3 assassins were nothing but stationary targets, unable to lift a finger. The 20mm kinetic warheads mercilessly shredded their combat suits, turning their bodies into a mist of blood. The battle ended without suspense. This was the dimensional crushing of an SSS module against ordinary gear. Killed Night Owl top assassin Scorpion. Killed Night Owl veteran Assault X2. Triggered talent source point doubling. Gained source points 12,000. Gained source points 8,000. Gained source points 8,000. A single windfall. Combined with his previous accumulation, Lin Ye's source point balance broke through another major threshold. Clean up. Lin Ye ordered expertly. The Titan core split open, a crimson maw greedily pouncing on the black war chariot parked at the intersection and the corpse remnants on the ground. Decomposed Night Owl Assassin Squad Special Vehicle. Gained high-strength carbon fiber X 50 kg micro radar module X1 source points 3000. Decomposed Scorpion Special Sniper Rifle. Gained rare metal krypton gold X 10G. Triggered trait Greedy Alchemy, plundered word fragment weakness insight 15. Lin Ye watched the ever-refreshing data, feeling elated. Just then the Titan core spat out an undecomposed black metal plate. Lin Ye picked it up. It was an encrypted storage chip engraved with a complex coordinate pattern. Item ruins key, incomplete description, key to an unexplored void rift. The Night Owl Assassin Group seems to be searching for this place. Coordinates being analyzed. Location F09 hunting zone, deep area, abandoned mine, lower level. Lin Ye's gaze sharpened. A void rift. In the interstellar era, every unexplored void rift represented immense wealth but also unknown horrors. Zhao Tianyu must have paid handsomely to hire the Night Owl operatives here, not just to kill him but more likely for this key. Kill and seize the treasure. Lin Ye tightened his grip on the metal plate, a cold smirk curling at his lips. Since you want it so badly, you'll go check it out for you. He turned and walked toward his off-road vehicle. As for Zhao Tianyu, Lin Ye was in no rush. Fear needed time to ferment. When Zhao Tianyu discovered that both waves of men he had sent vanished without a trace, not even a ripple, that unknown terror would be the most torturous. Next stop, the abandoned mine, lower level. Lin Ye started the engine, which roared to life as he sped away, leaving behind only the desolate dead man slope sobbing in the wind. The off-road vehicle kicked up a long plume of dust across the barren plain before sharply decelerating and halting at the edge of a colossal sinkhole. This was the heart of hunting zone F09, the abandoned mine pit. From a high vantage point, the pit, over 10 kilometers in diameter, resembled a gaping abyssal maw. Deep within its pitch-black throat, faint ethereal blue mists churned and roiled. That was highly concentrated void radiation. A single inhalation would cause lung fibrosis in an ordinary person, but for a battleship spark it was a natural energy cradle. Lin Ye pushed open the car door. The wind laden with gravel stung his face. This is the coordinate point. He glanced at the black metal plate in his hand. Its intricate patterns were warming up as they neared the pit, as if responding to a summons from the depths below. Titan environmental scan. A hum resonated. The Titan hunter hovering in midair projected a fan-shaped blue light that rapidly swept across the area ahead. On his retina, the previously pitch-black internal structure of the pit was dissected layer by layer, constructing a three-dimensional model. Environmental analysis complete. Area abandoned mine pit, lower level unexplored zone. Radiation level high, activate energy shield recommended. Biological response dense. Detected numerous void crawler nests and 3 high energy reaction sources suspected elite grade. A faint smile tugged at the corner of Lin Ye's mouth. 3 elite monsters. Looks like Zhao Tianyu's expensive purchase of these coordinates wasn't a total loss. Without a moment's hesitation, he stored the off-road vehicle into the system's battleship subspace storage. Though it was only 10 cubic meters, it was more than enough for a car, and leaped off the Tensof-Muttershai cliff. The wind howled past his ears. Just before impact, an orange ripple exploded beneath his feet. Gravity well generator anti-gravity mode. Lin Ye landed gently on a protruding rock platform as gracefully as a feather. He was now 500 meters underground. The surrounding light was extremely dim, with only faint illumination from some luminescent moss growing on the rock walls. The air was thick with a mix of decay and sulfur. The ground beneath his feet was carpeted with a thick layer of bones, some human, some from alien beasts. Crack! Lin Ye crushed a femur underfoot, the sound echoing through the silent mine shaft. Hiss! In the darkness, hundreds of crimson eyes instantly lit up. They were the void crawlers infesting the entrance. These monsters resembled giant skinless lizards with suction cup limbs that allowed them to traverse vertical rock faces with ease, and tongues that shot out like bullets to snatch prey. To an ordinary novice captain, the sight would have been terrifying enough to weaken their knees. But in Lin Ye's eyes, they were nothing more than walking source points. Perfect a chance to test the new form's close combat capabilities. Lin Ye didn't deploy the autocannons. With a thought, the Titan hunter's side wings sharply retracted and the armor plates beneath the fuselage flipped open, deploying 2-meter-long high-frequency oscillating blades. Form switch, close quarters assault mode. Kill. At the command, the Titan transformed into a silver-gray streak of light, charging into the swarm of beasts. There were no flashy techniques. Only sheer speed and razor-sharp edges. Shink. 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 The sound of blades slicing through flesh became a continuous stream. The crawlers that had just pounced were neatly cleaved into several chunks while still midair. The high-frequency blades' inherent heat instantly cauterized the wounds, preventing even a drop of blood from spilling. Lin Ye strolled leisurely behind. The Titan cleared a path 10 meters ahead of him like a tireless meat grinder. Killed void crawler LV. 2x1. Source points 500, hundredfold critical. Killed void crawler LV. 2x1. Source points 500. Obtained material sticky sucker X2 tough leather X1. In a mere 5 minutes, Lin Ye had traversed 300 meters of the mine shaft. Behind him, the ground was littered with severed limbs and broken bodies. Too weak. Lin Ye shook his head. This level of combat wasn't even worthy of making the Titan activate its shield. He reached the end of the shaft. Before him stood a massive black metal wall covered in the scars of time. But at its center was a distinct groove. Lin Ye took out the heated metal plate and pressed it into the groove. Rumble! A deep rumbling sound echoed as if a slumbering behemoth had stirred. The heavy metal wall slowly slid open to both sides. A gust of stale, decaying wind, yet imbued with astonishing energy, blasted out from within. Ding! Hidden map discovered. Federation No. 73 Battleship Graveyard Fragment. Warning! Ancient defense system remnants detected inside. Danger level C. Tip: this place buries the glory of a bygone era and also the souls of the greedy. Lin Ye narrowed his eyes, peering into the dim space beyond the door. It was no mine pit at all. Instead, it was a colossal underground cavern. Countless broken metal walkways hung suspended in midair. And deep within the cavern, the faint silhouette of a small interstellar destroyer, broken in two, lay silently embedded in a lake of magma. A battleship graveyard. Lin Ye's breathing quickened. Such places were typically only encountered during deep space exploration. He never expected to find such a huge surprise hidden underground in this novice zone. Zhao Tianyu, you really are a gift-giving child. Lin Ye licked his lips and strode inside. The moment he stepped through the metal gate, the system's prompts began flooding his vision. High concentration of active metallic reaction detected. Recyclable energy core detected. Remnants of ancient weapon modules detected. The world before Lin Ye's eyes transformed into a golden ocean. Eye of Insight operated at full capacity, countless data tags densely floating in every corner of the holospace. Even though most things had already been rendered useless by the erosion of time, even the remaining scraps were an unimaginable treasure for Lin Ye at this moment. This is heaven. Lin Ye walked to a broken metal walkway and reached out to touch the railing. This seemingly ordinary railing was actually forged from star-pattern steel. In the current Federation market, this material cost 200 credits per gram and was typically only used for the core framework of battleships. Yet here it was used as a handrail. Titan, don't be shy. Lin Ye patted the fighter beside him. It's buffet time. A resonant hum erupted. The Titan hunter let out an unprecedented joyful hum. It immediately deactivated its combat form, reverting to that massive metal disc, its surface fissures opening to their limit like a voracious black hole. Crack! Crack! Instead of gnawing at the railings, Titan pounced directly on a pile of discarded parts nearby. There were over a dozen scrapped construction robots stacked there. Devouring ancient construction robot wreckage. Acquired trace nano repair fluid source points 200 refined star pattern steel 50 kilograms. Devouring high energy conduction pipeline. Acquired superconducting copper 20 kilograms source points 100. As the devouring progressed, a faint blue light began to emanate from the silver-gray armor on Titan's core surface, its texture becoming denser and deeper. Armor value upper limit increased 15000, 15500. Energy value upper limit increased 5200. This was the terrifying aspect of material recomposition greed. As long as there were sufficient resources, Titan could be infinitely strengthened. For other captains, this place might just be a treasure hunting ground where they had to grab a few valuable items and retreat due to limited carrying capacity. But for Lin Ye, this was his leveling ground. He intended to devour everything here. Lin Ye descended along the walkway, his target directly set on the broken destroyer deep within. The deeper he went, the stronger the surrounding void creatures became. Roar! A void lurker the size of a truck suddenly pounced from the shadows. Its entire body was covered in rock-like carapace, and its two massive scythe-like forelimbs gleamed with a cold light. This was already an LV-5 elite monster. But before it could reach Lin Ye, a terrifying gravity field descended instantly. 20 times gravity. The void lurker's massive body sank heavily as if pressed to the ground by an invisible giant hand, its rock carapace emitting the sound of cracking under the strain. It struggled desperately, but against the absolute laws of physics, its strength seemed so insignificant. Too slow. Lin Ye didn't even pause his stride. A shadow split from the feasting Titan core. It was the floating sentry mode. With a piercing sound, an azure laser beam precisely pierced the lurker's head. Killed void lurker LV-5 elite. Acquired source points 8000. Triggered greed alchemy, plundered affix rock camouflage 15. The corpse instantly withered, becoming nourishment. Lin Ye pushed forward relentlessly. Half an hour later, he stood before the broken destroyer. Although this warship was already broken into, its former majestic stature was still discernible. The hull was covered in deep blue special armor, and although the massive main cannon at the bow was twisted, it still exuded a daunting pressure. Scanning target: Federation 3rd generation Storm-class destroyer wreckage. Status: heavily damaged, core extinguished. Recyclable high-value items: 1. Subvoid engine damage rate 70, reparable devourable. 2. Shipborne phased array radar damage rate 40, dismantleable. 3. Suspected unopened military supply crates in the warehouse. Lin Ye's heart pounded violently. A void engine. Even a defective one was a treasure that transcended class boundaries. For a frigate to advance to a destroyer, the core requirement was possessing an engine capable of short-range jumps. If he could secure this, the path to Titan's advancement would have no more bottlenecks. I've hit the jackpot. Lin Ye took a deep breath, just about to approach. Suddenly the system's alarm blared. Warning. Detected an extremely dangerous energy reaction. Target is awakening. With a rumble, the broken hull of the destroyer began to tremble violently. A giant centipede-like creature covered in silver metallic carapace and over 10 meters long slowly crawled out from the ship's fissure. Its 100 legs were like sharp war blades, and its head was embedded with a still flickering red crystal, the residual backup energy core of the warship, now the source of this monster's power. Target: Void Parasite Demon Worm LV-10 Lord class. Evaluation: it has parasitized this warship for over a century, fusing with it completely. It is the current captain of this ship. Extremely dangerous. Immediate retreat advised. LV-10 Lord class. This was a terror capable of annihilating an entire squad of regular troops. Lin Ye did not retreat. Looking at the demon worm radiating a horrifying aura, his eyes held not fear but a blazing madness. Retreat. You want me to retreat from this giant moving bundle of experience and materials? Lin Ye slowly raised his right hand, the gravity well generator in his palm blazing with light. Titan form recomposition. We're about to slay a god. Within the vast subterranean cavern, the air grew scorching from the high-energy reactions. The void parasitic worm let out a piercing shriek, its half-buried body emerging from the fractured destroyer, while the crimson crystal embedded in its head suddenly blazed with blinding light. That was the secondary cannon charging reaction of a Storm-class destroyer. Though a century had passed, the destructive power of that energy blast was still enough to vaporize Lin Ye and the rocky platform beneath him. Zzz, boom. A thick dark crimson beam of light tore through the darkness, carrying devastating heat straight toward Lin Ye. Lin Ye did not retreat. The moment the beam shot forth, he crushed the sealing coating on the gray stone sphere in his hand. Gravity well overdrive mode. Get down here. Hum. The once invisible orange ripples instantly transformed into a tangible barrier of light, erupting violently from Lin Ye in a fan-shaped wave before him. If it had been 20 times gravity in Echo Canyon, now it was 50 times. This was the limit of the gravity well generator prototype, the reason it was called its class ancient relic. The incoming dark crimson beam visibly twisted upon entering the gravity field. Though light itself was unaffected by gravity, the particle stream carrying its energy was forcibly dragged to the ground by the terrifying gravitational pull. Boom! The energy cannon exploded 30 meters in front of Lin Ye, sending a 100-meter-high wave of molten rock from the lava lake. Before the debris could scatter, it was crushed to dust by the gravity. And that arrogant Lord-level worm faced utter catastrophe. Crack! 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 Its 10-meter-long massive body, along with the destroyer's bow it parasitized, emitted a grating sound of metal fracturing. What did 50 times gravity mean? It was as if a mountain had instantly been pressed upon it. The worm's once impressive silver carapace cracked inch by inch, and its green bodily fluids just ejected were forced back into its body. It flailed its 100 legs frantically, trying to support itself, but those sharp limbs snapped like brittle glass the moment they touched the ground. Roar! Its once ferocious howl turned into a pained whimper. It was pinned to the ground, unable even to lift its head. The red energy crystal, overloaded from the pressure on its energy circuits, began to flicker erratically. Now it's my turn. Lin Ye stood above, coldly gazing down at the giant beast pinned like a specimen. He raised his hand, pointing downward. Titan feed. The Titan hunter hovering in the air had long been eager. It folded its wings, and the armor plates beneath its fuselage flipped open, revealing two high-frequency vibrating monomolecular cutting blades. Thrusters fully ignited. Titan transformed into a silver-gray streak, defying the 50-fold gravity. As an allied unit, it was immune and slammed straight into the worm's head. There was no fancy technique. Only sheer speed and unstoppable sharpness. Shying. The high-frequency blades cut into the worm's head carapace like a hot knife through butter. The worm thrashed wildly, but under the suppression of the gravity well, it was nothing but fish on a chopping block. Titan didn't sever its neck directly. Instead, it plunged the two blades deep into the worm's body, then, activating trait material recomposition, countless tiny cracks opened on Titan's surface armor, and dense red light tendrils extended, plunging into the worm's flesh and the energy crystal. It wasn't killing the monster. It was devouring it alive. Scree! The worm let out its final agonizing scream. It could feel its life force, its energy, and even the metallic essence of the ship it had parasitized being frantically drained by that iron lump only a tenth its size. Visibly, the worm's massive body began to shrivel and decay. The red energy crystal rapidly dimmed and finally turned to dust. 3 minutes. In just 3 minutes, this LV-10 Lord-level monster capable of annihilating a regular military squad was reduced to a giant desiccated corpse. Lin Ye waved his hand and the gravity field dissipated. He leaped down from the rocky platform and landed beside Titan. At this moment, Titan's surface shimmered with an eerie red glow. Though its size hadn't changed, the oppressive aura it emanated had multiplied several-fold. On the system panel, golden notifications flooded the screen. Killed void parasitic worm LV-10 Lord. Gained base source points 2000. Triggered talent source points doubled. Gained source points to 00000. Triggered greed alchemy perfect plunder. Obtained Lord-level biological essence X1. Obtained rare module high energy focusing crystal scrade material. Detected exposed core of Storm-class destroyer wreckage. Devour. Lin Ye's heart skipped a beat at the sight of the 200,000 figure. 200,000 source points. At Starlight Academy, even for those from prestigious families, it would take years of accumulation to gather such resources. Yet he had earned it in a single battle. Devour. Lin Ye placed his hand on the fractured bow of the ship, a fervent gleam in his eyes. Skin and bone consume it all. Within the vast underground cavern, a silent gluttonous feast was underway. The Titan Predator crouched upon the wreckage of the broken Storm-class destroyer, its body radiating a crimson light akin to tangible acid, slowly dissolving, decomposing and absorbing the sturdy hull alloy. This steel behemoth, once gallivanting across the starry sea, was now vanishing at an astonishing speed. Lin Ye stood aside, constantly monitoring the changes in the system data. With the influx of large amounts of high-strength alloys and rare elements, the Titan's status panel was undergoing earth-shattering changes. Devouring special star pattern steel. Armor value limit 5000. Devouring phase radar module. Detection range increased to 50 kilometers. Devouring shipborne fire control system. Lock-on accuracy increased by 30. But this was not what Lin Ye cared about most. His gaze was fixed on the spherical chamber deep within the wreckage, protected by layer upon layer. That was the ship's heart, the engine room. Crack! As the last layer of protective armor was decomposed by the Titan, a sphere emitting a faint blue light was revealed. It was about 1 meter in diameter, its surface covered with complex energy circuits. Although there were several obvious cracks, it still rotated slowly, emitting a spatial fluctuation that made one's heart pound. Item: secondary void engine, Storm-class damaged, status damage rate 68, cannot be directly equipped. Core function: short-range subspace jump, charge time 30 minutes, jump distance 10 light-years. Evaluation: although a defective product, it is a ticket to the starry ocean. Finally found it. Lin Ye took a deep breath, suppressing his inner excitement. In this era of universal ship captains, possessing an engine with jump capability was the absolute watershed, distinguishing an atmospheric pilot from a starship captain. As long as he had it, the Titan would no longer be confined to this planet, but could truly step into that vast deep space. System: how many source points are needed to repair this engine? Calculated complete repair requires 50,000 source points, high purity void crystal X10. Current resources insufficient. Lin Ye frowned slightly. 500,000 source points, he couldn't come up with that even by selling himself. Is there no other way? Option 2: fusion recombination. Utilizing the Titan core's material recombination trait, devour this engine, extract its core spatial jump module and fuse it with the Titan's existing power system. Estimated success rate 95. Source point consumption 100,000. Mutation traits may occur after fusion. Mutation. A sharp glint flashed in Lin Ye's eyes. I like mutations. Execute option 2. Whoosh. The Titan core seemed to understand the command. It lunged fiercely at the blue engine sphere, its body splitting open like a snake swallowing an elephant, forcibly devouring the engine, which was nearly as large as itself. The next second. Boom. A terrifying wave of energy erupted from within the Titan. The silver-gray body instantly turned into a dazzling azure blue, countless arcs of electricity dancing wildly across the armor surface. Lin Ye felt a sharp pain in his mind, the burden of his mental energy synchronously evolving with the warship. But he gritted his teeth and held on, his eyes wide open, staring fixedly at the orb of light in the air. Recombination commencing. Analyzing spatial circuits. Injecting source points 100,000. Time ticked by minute. 10 minutes later. The lights suddenly converged. A brand new warship hovered before Lin Ye. It was a size larger than its previous Predator form, with a wingspan reaching 3 meters. The originally angular body had become longer, sleeker and more rounded, exuding an aesthetic of fluid dynamics. The most striking change was at the tail, where the original jet nozzle had disappeared, replaced by a floating blue ring containing what seemed like a miniature starry sky within. Evolution successful. Form update: Titan Void Reaver 3rd stage, form level LV. 10 Subdestroyer class, armor value 35,000, energy value 20,000, new trait Void Blink active. Effect: consumes 20 energy. The warship can instantly perform a spatial jump within visual range 5 kilometers. Ignores obstacles. Ignores locks. Cooldown 60 seconds. Evaluation: it is no longer a plane, it is a ghost of space. Now, even facing a regular army patrol fleet, you can take the enemy commander's head amidst thousands of troops and then leave gracefully. Void Blink. In other words, the commonly known flash. This was a divine skill, far more suited for combat than a short-range jump. A jump required long charging time and could only be used for travel. But Blink was instantaneous, an absolute trump card in battle. Lin Ye reached out, touching the cool metal body, feeling the surging power within. At this moment, even without relying on the gravity, he was confident in directly confronting Zhao Tianyu's so-called A-class frigate. It's about time to go back. Lin Ye glanced at the warship graveyard, which had been cleaned out completely. Nothing was left except a pile of scrap iron slag. He stored the Titan back into the system space, turned around and walked towards the exit. This trip to the F-09 hunting zone had not only netted him a huge profit, but more importantly allowed the Titan to undergo a qualitative leap. Zhao Tianyu, Night Owl. Lin Ye walked out of the mine pit, facing the biting wind on the wasteland, a cold smile curling at the corner of his mouth. The men you sent are all dead. You must be quite anxious by now, right? Don't worry. I'm coming back now to give you a big surprise. He released the off-road vehicle from his storage warehouse, its engine roaring as it sped off towards Star River Academy. And behind him the once feared F-09 restricted zone had been completely reduced to a silent dead tomb. The off-road vehicle slowly came to a halt before the checkpoint 5 kilometers away from Starlight Academy. The setting sun scorched the sky crimson, casting long shadows from the colossal space elevator through the clouds. Lin Ye rested his arm on the window, gazing at the long queue of vehicles ahead. It was the returning hunting teams of students and mercenaries honking impatiently as they waited for security clearance. Too slow. Lin Ye tapped his fingers lightly on the steering wheel. He had no patience for waiting right now. That fool Zhao Tianyu was probably staring at his communicator, anticipating the assassin's confirmation of his decapitated remains. The look of disappointment on his face must be priceless. Titan. A faint azure gleam flickered in Lin Ye's eyes. Test the new toy. Buzz. No engine roar echoed through the air, only a faint sound like a bubble popping. The next second, the off-road vehicle that had been at the end of the queue vanished into thin air. No visual effects, no acceleration process. It was as if someone had cut out that segment of spacetime and spliced it back together. 5 kilometers away. The main square of Starlight Academy. The square was still buzzing with noise. On the holographic leaderboard, Lin Ye's glaring SSS rating remained at the top, drawing crowds of onlookers. Swoosh. A dust-covered off-road vehicle materialized without warning beside the fountain in the center of the square. Tires screeched against the ground as it came to a sharp halt. Startled students cried out and stumbled backward. Holy crap! Where did that car come from? Teleportation. Am I seeing things? Is that spatial folding? No way. That's core destroyer level tech. How could it be on a PCO Funk car? The door swung open. Lin Ye stepped out. His black trench coat was slightly torn, damaged by debris in the gravity field earlier, but it did nothing to diminish his aura. On the contrary, the chilling presence he carried, born from countless battles, silenced the security guards who had intended to confront him. Lin Ye ignored the stares around him and looked up toward the administrative building. There on the top floor was a luxurious student lounge with the best view. Zhao Tianyu's exclusive territory. Inside the lounge the air was thick with the aroma of expensive red wine. Zhao Tianyu, clad in a silk robe, swirled a goblet in his hand, his face dark as he stared at the communicator on the table. 2 hours. The Night Owl operatives were silent as the dead, with no reply. Don't worry, Master Zhao, a lackey beside him said, cautiously peeling a grape and offering it. Night Owl is professional. That Lin Ye, even if he had 3 heads and 6 arms, is doomed out there in the wilderness. They're probably disposing of the body, making it disappear. Zhao Tianyu slapped the grape away in irritation. I don't want him disappeared. I want his head. He ground his teeth, his eyes brimming with venom. That loser humiliated me in front of the whole school. I'll have him stuffed and mounted in my collection room. Just then a shadow flashed past the floor-to-ceiling window of the lounge. This was the 30th floor. Zhao Tianyu's heart leaped and he whipped his head around. Outside the window a deep gray, sinister-looking rhomboid fighter hovered silently. It hung there without a sound. Its dark 6-barreled cannon was aimed directly at his forehead through the bulletproof glass. Above the fighter a line of azure text was projected: package delivered. Please sign for it. Lin Ye. The goblet slipped from Zhao Tianyu's hand and shattered on the floor, spilling red wine like an omen of ill fortune. Before he could scream, the fighter vanished. Then the lounge door was kicked open with a thunderous crash. The heavy solid wood door flew inward, grazing Zhao Tianyu's scalp before smashing into the liquor cabinet behind him, shattering everything in a cascade of glass and wood. Lin Ye stepped through the debris, crunching glass underfoot. A faint smile played on his lips, but his eyes were as cold as if he were looking at a corpse. Classmate Zhao, I heard you were looking for me. A deathly silence hung over the lounge. Zhao Tianyu collapsed onto the sofa, his face ashen and pale. He stared at the youth who had appeared like a ghost, his throat constricted as if stuffed with cotton, unable to utter a single sound. How could this be? The Night Owl's gold-ranked assassin Scorpion had personally led the team, backed by the elite of the Black Snake Gang, a force strong enough to annihilate a squad of regular troops. How could Lin Ye still be alive? Completely unharmed. You. What do you want? Zhao Tianyu scrambled backward, his voice trembling and distorted. This is the academy. Dare you touch me? My uncle is a member of the board of directors. If you so much as lay a finger on me, you'll have your entire family buried with you. Lin Ye halted, stopping 3 meters away from Zhao Tianyu. He paid no heed to such blustering threats, casually pulling over a chair and sitting down with the relaxed air of someone in their own home. Don't be nervous. Lin Ye pulled something from his pocket, tossing it lightly in his hand. I'm just here to return something. Clink. The object landed on the marble coffee table in front of Zhao Tianyu with a crisp metallic clang. Zhao Tianyu instinctively looked down. His pupils contracted to pinpricks. It was a black metal badge engraved with an owl spreading its wings for flight. On the back of the badge was inscribed a code name, Scorpion. The badge was stained with dark red blood, the dried remnants of a dead man's life. Ugh. Zhao Tianyu's stomach churned, violently overwhelming fear nearly causing him to vomit on the spot. Scorpion was dead. That gold-ranked assassin who boasted he would kill even the president if the price was right was dead. And utterly so, with even this token of identity falling into Lin Ye's hands. This isn't mine. Zhao Tianyu stammered in denial, cold sweat instantly soaking his robe. I don't know any Scorpion. Don't try to frame me. Lin Ye smiled. He leaned forward, his pitch-black eyes locking onto Zhao Tianyu's. Did I say you sent them? Zhao Tianyu froze. A self-betrayal. Zhao Tianyu, your methods are too dirty and too weak. Lin Ye extended a finger, tapping the blood-stained badge lightly. This time it's just a warning. Next time you want to kill me, hire someone more expensive. Like, sell off all your Zhao family assets and hire a starship fleet. Maybe then you'd make me take things a little seriously. Humiliation. Naked humiliation. But Zhao Tianyu lacked even the strength to rage. A chill surged from the soles of his feet to the crown of his head. He finally realized that this former Frank Trash whom he had once bullied at will had transformed into a monster he could no longer afford to provoke. Lin Ye stood up, brushing off his clothes. His goal was achieved. Killing Zhao Tianyu was simple, a single cannon shot. But murder on campus would invite unnecessary trouble, especially with a family as influential as the Zhao. Rather than kill him, it was better to let him live in fear. This kind of unknown torment was more terrifying than death itself. Oh, by the way. At the door, Lin Ye paused, turning back to glance at Zhao Tianyu, who lay slumped on the sofa like a pile of mud. The coordinates of that abandoned mine were good. Though it was a trap, I dug up something nice. Give your uncle my thanks. With that, Lin Ye strode away. Only when that nightmare of a figure had completely vanished did Zhao Tianyu gasp for air, as if coming back to life. He snatched a bottle from the table and hurled it at the door with a hysterical roar. After the fear came extreme humiliation and madness. Lin Ye. I want you dead. I swear you'll die. He trembled as he pulled out a communicator and dialed an encrypted number. Uncle. The night owl failed. They're all dead. I want to use the family's thing. Yes, that decommissioned cruiser. No matter the cost, it'll tear him limb from limb. Stepping out of the administration building, the night breeze was cool. Lin Ye paid no mind to Zhao Tianyu's impotent rage. To him now, Zhao Tianyu was nothing but a petty clown whose last shred of usefulness could be squeezed out before being casually crushed. His focus was entirely on the ruins key he had taken from Scorpion. The depths of Forbidden Zone F09 actually connect to an unknown void rift. As he walked toward his dormitory, Lin Ye communicated with the system in his mind. System, analyze the key's coordinates. Coordinates analyzing. Target location, Arctic icefields, no. 33 observation station ruins. Danger level be extremely high. Expected gains unknown. May contain high-purity void crystal veins or ancient civilization relics. The Arctic icefields, a forbidden zone of the Federation and a graveyard for countless outlaws. Looks like I need to do some preparation first. Lin Ye checked the balance on his wristband. 2 million federal credits plus the spoils from recent hunts. Enough to buy a batch of genuine contraband from the black market and arm the Titan to the teeth. I also need to visit the Academy Library. Lin Ye looked up at the starry sky. I need to find the perfect utilization plan for that scrayed crystal from the void parasitic maggot's body. Grow stronger. Only by constantly growing stronger could he live like a human in this cannibalistic world. The Star River Academy Library. It was a colossal structure soaring 100 stories high, its exterior walls forged from seamless one-way transparent alloy casting a cold silver gleam under the setting sun. Lin Ye swiped his ID card. With a soft beep, the gate slid open. Though he had rejected the elite cadet contract, his SS-level mock exam results granted him authority second only to the instructors. The hall was silent save for the faint hum of data being perused from holographic bookshelves. Lin Ye did not linger in the ground floor's basic section. He strode directly to the elevator and pressed the button for the 10th basement level. That was the ancient technology research section, housing countless incomplete blueprints and theoretical models excavated from relics of the old era. To ordinary cadets, this place was a heap of yellowed papers, a worthless junkyard. But in Lin Ye's eyes, it was an untapped goldmine. System initiate wide area scan. A pale blue stream of data instantly flooded his retinal display. Searching for weapon blueprints matching high-energy focusing crystal. Filtering. Lin Ye strolled between rows of dust-laden physical bookshelves. Occasionally a few researchers in thick-lensed glasses passed by casting astonished glances at the freshman in his school uniform. Combat-oriented students rarely ventured to the 10th basement level. Everyone was busy grinding points in simulation pods or pumping iron in the gravity chambers. Only the theory-focused types desperate to scrape together a thesis for graduation came here to dig through archives. Most of the materials in this section are outdated. An elderly librarian with graying hair pushed a cart past offering a kind reminder. The mainstream for warships now is energy compression cannons and electromagnetic railguns. That book in your hand on the refraction and focusing of high-energy rays is a theory from 200 years ago. Lin Ye was holding a yellowed paper book. Its title was awkward and its author was an obscure mad scientist. Outdated doesn't mean useless, Lin Ye replied flatly, his fingers brushing lightly over the book's spine. In his field of vision, the book radiated a glaring orange light. Item Death Ray Prototype Theory Completeness 45 Core Logic is self-consistent. Flaw requires an extremely high-purity focusing medium. Existing synthetic crystals cannot withstand its energy load, firing results in immediate detonation. Evaluation, a genius concept tragically constrained by material science. As long as you possess that grade crystal, it becomes the absolute truth. This is it. A faint smile curled at the corner of Lin Ye's mouth. This world's tech tree had developed in a skewed direction, relentlessly pursuing energy compression while neglecting pure light focusing. Not because they were unwilling, but because they could not find a lens capable of enduring such intense heat. But he had one. That grade crystal excavated from the brain of a Lord-tier insectoid monster was the perfect key. I want to redeem the data package for this blueprint. Lin Ye handed the book to the librarian. The old librarian paused, pushing up his glasses. This is just a theoretical model never validated in combat. And the redemption cost is 500 source points. Are you sure? 500 source points. For an ordinary student it was a fortune, enough to buy a decent E-grade spark. Spending it on a useless book. I'm sure. Lin Ye swiped his card with a fluid motion. As the data transfer completed, a new Yetobunlot icon appeared on his system panel. Death Ray. The name alone sounded auspicious. Lin Ye turned and left, ignoring the librarian's gaze as if looking at a prodigal son. Truth often resides in the hands of a few. And those who hold the truth tend to walk a solitary path. Stepping out of the library, the sky had darkened. Lin Ye did not return to the dormitory. Instead, he headed directly to the Academy's self-service modification workshop. The blueprint was acquired, the core material was in hand. But he still needed auxiliary materials. A vast quantity of them. System list the materials required for constructing the death ray. Calculating. Required materials: high-temperature resistant ceramic plates x 50 kg, liquid cooling circulation system, military grade x1 superconducting coils x 200 meters, stabilizers x3. Estimated cost 1.8 million Federation credits. Lin Ye paused mid-step as he stared at the figure. 1,800,000. He had just made a windfall from the Black Serpent Gang and the Night Owls, and after selling the materials he had about 2,400,000. This single cannon shot would eat up more than half his fortune. Money-devouring beast, Lin Ye cursed under his breath, but his eyes blazed with excitement. The higher the cost, the greater the power. In this dog-eat-dog world, money sitting in an account was just a string of numbers. Only when transformed into guns and cannons did it become the capital for survival. Spend it. Lin Ye gritted his teeth. Even if I have to pawn my pants tonight, I'm going to build this thing. In the self-service modification workshop operating room C09. This was a private space rented by the Academy for its students, equipped with high-precision robotic arms and a smelting furnace. The heavy soundproof door was locked tight. Lin Ye summoned the Titan core, suspending it above the workbench. Beside it, a pile of expensive materials just delivered lay stacked. The high-temperature resistant ceramics and military-grade coolant each exuded the fragrance of wealth. Let's begin. Lin Ye took a deep breath and placed the azure-glowing, high-energy focusing crystal at the very center. System load the Death Ray blueprint. Command confirmed. Core material detected: grade focusing crystal. Auxiliary materials sufficient. Initiating construction. The Titan core split open and azure electric arcs extended like tentacles, pulling the materials on the workbench into its body. This time the commotion was smaller than ever before. There was no violent release of energy, only an extremely oppressive low-frequency vibration. It was like the calm before the storm. Lin Ye stared intently at the Titan's transformation. Beneath its once streamlined fuselage, the 6-barreled kinetic cannon was changing. The barrels contracted and reconfigured. The expensive ceramic plates melted under the high heat wrapping around the new weapon module like layers of exoskeleton. The liquid cooling system like blue blood vessels densely covered the gun barrel. Half an hour later, the vibration ceased. A bizarrely shaped weapon appeared on the Titan's abdomen. It was no longer a rugged multi-barreled cannon but a pristine white prismatic barrel about 2 meters long. At the muzzle, the sprayed crystal was perfectly embedded, radiating a chilling gleam. Construction complete. Module acquired. Titan Death Ray Grade. Type High Energy Beam Weapon. Attack. Depends on charge time. Trait 1 Lightspeed Strike Unavoidable. Trait 2 Material Penetration ignores 50 energy shields, inflicts devastating thermal melt damage on physical armor. Cooldown 10 seconds. Coolant replacement required in overload mode. Evaluation: this is not a gun, it is God's scalpel. Slicing through enemy warships like cutting through butter. Lin Ye reached out and touched the cool white barrel. The texture was warm and smooth as jade, yet it concealed lethal intent. Let's test it. Lin Ye looked at the target in the corner of the room. It was a scrap tank composite armor plate used for testing warship firepower, half a meter thick, theoretically capable of withstanding a single hit from an ordinary destroyer's main cannon. Titan charge to 10. Hum. The death ray's crystal glowed faintly. There was no sound. No recoil. Lin Ye only saw a flash of white light before his eyes, too fast for his retina to capture. Chi. A hole suddenly appeared in the thick armor plate in the corner. It was only as thick as a finger. The incision was smooth as a mirror, the edges not even reddened. That was the mark of extreme heat instantly vaporizing the material. Then, crash. The entire armor plate, as if losing its support, shattered into a pile of powder. The molecular structure was destroyed. Lin Ye's pupils contracted sharply. This power. If it hit a person, not even ashes would remain. If it struck a warship, it could directly penetrate the core cabin, vaporizing the pilot inside. Worth it. Lin Ye looked at the mere hundreds of thousands left in his account and let out a long breath. Though he was broke, he now possessed a true killer move. The kinetic cannon handles the minions. The gravity well controls the field. The death ray decapitates the leader. A perfect tactical loop. Next, the northern ice wasteland. Lin Ye put away the Titan and glanced at the map on his wristband. That was a federal forbidden zone, a lawless land. Since Zhao Tianyu wanted him dead so badly, even willing to deploy the family cruiser. Then he would go there and prepare a prime burial ground for the Zhao family. Lin Ye walked out of the workshop, the night breeze stirring his clothes. His gaze turned northward. There the wind and snow raged. The slaughter too would begin. The moment he stepped out of the modification workshop, Lin Ye glanced at the balance on his wristband. 3500 Federation credits. From a nouveau riche flaunting 2 million credits to a pauper who couldn't even afford a ton of high-grade fuel, it took only one night. That glass death ray cannon was indeed formidable, but it had completely drained his coffers. His Titan warship was now like a starving man wielding a Gatling gun. Its firepower was fierce, but without refueling it might not even have enough energy to reach the northern icefield. I need to make money, Lin Ye muttered, pulling his collar tight against the night wind. And it has to be quick. He changed direction, bypassing the dormitory and heading straight for the Academy's mission hall. Though it was late at night, the mission hall was still brightly lit. A massive holographic screen scrolled through dense rows of mission listings with hundreds of cadets gathered around self-service terminals selecting lucrative side jobs. Lin Ye found a terminal in a corner, swiped his card and logged in. Cadet Lin Ye, SS class clearance. Filtering high-reward missions for you. The list on the screen instantly refreshed, filtering out menial tasks like find lost pet or clean the sewers, leaving only a row of high-risk missions marked in red. Lin Ye's eyes swept across rapidly. Escort a merchant convoy through Zone F07. Takes 3 days, pays 50,000. Too slow. Hunt down a rampaging third-tier ironclad rhinoceros. Pays 30,000. Too little. His finger glided across the screen, finally stopping on a black skull icon labeled Extreme Danger. Mission ID X033. Location Northern Icefield, former site of Observation Station No. 33. Objective retrieve the black box data disk left at the station. Difficulties class recommended for destroyer level or elite squads. Reward 500000 Federation credits, 5000 source points, 1 exchange voucher for the Academy's class resource vault. Note this area is perpetually affected by extreme magnetic storms and roams with unknown high-energy lifeforms. The 3 previous squads that accepted this mission have all gone missing. Observation Station No. 33. Lin Ye narrowed his eyes. That was precisely the coordinate area indicated by the relic key. A convenient way to earn money while heading there. It was practically tailor-made for him. Accept. Lin Ye pressed the confirm button without hesitation. Warning. This mission has a mortality rate exceeding 80. Please confirm acceptance. Confirmed. Acceptance successful. Mission countdown 48 hours. Just as Lin Ye pulled out his ID card, a striking red announcement flashed across the main screen in the hall. SS Class Cadet Lin Ye has accepted this class mission. Icefield black box. The previously noisy hall fell silent for a second. Then murmurs surged like a tide. Lin Ye. The freshman who topped the simulation exam. Is he insane? That's an class mission. Even senior juniors wouldn't dare touch it lightly. In a place like the northern icefield, even an class spark would crack from the cold, right? Does he think reality is the same as the simulation pod? Lin Ye ignored the shocked or mocking glances around him. He walked to the supply exchange window and used his remaining 3,000 credits to buy the most basic cryogel and high-calorie energy bars. Are you sure you're only taking these? The senior student at the window couldn't help but warn, looking at the list. The temperature on the icefield can drop to 100 degrees below zero at night. Without a thermal suit, you'll freeze to death. My warship isn't afraid of the cold, Lin Ye replied flatly, taking the supply bag. And as for me, I won't give the cold a chance to get close. He turned and walked out of the hall, his silhouette vanishing into the night. The senior student stood frozen, staring at his retreating figure. For some reason, a chill crept into her heart. Half an hour later. At the northern launch platform of Star River Academy. Lin Ye stood in the cold wind, focusing his mind. Titan, come out and stretch your wings. Whoosh. The air twisted and the transformed Titan Void Reaver materialized out of thin air. After 3 upgrades, the Titan now boasted a wingspan of 3 meters. Its deep gray armor shimmered with an ethereal blue glow, and the void ring at its tail spun slowly, radiating a space-warping aura that sent chills down the spine. Lin Ye leaped into the open cockpit on the craft's back. Though the Titan could operate autonomously, he preferred this man-machine integration mode to conserve mental energy during long hauls. The gravity well generator activated automatically, forming a constant temperature, constant pressure force field around him. Target northern icefield. Full speed ahead. Boom. The void ring at the tail contracted sharply, then erupted in a ring of blue shockwaves. The Titan instantly broke the sound barrier, transforming into a meteor that tore through the clouds, speeding straight north. Not long after his departure, a figure in a black uniform stealthily emerged from the shadows, speaking softly into a communicator. The fish has left port, heading due north. Confirmed destination northern icefield. Roger. Inform the second master the net can be drawn in. The extreme north icefield, a forbidden zone for humanity. Here there was no distinction between day and night, only raging blizzards and auroras. Gale force winds carrying shards of ice slice like countless tiny blades across every protrusion on the land. ZZZ. Warning. Ambient temperature negative 120 degrees Celsius. Radar disrupted by magnetic storms, range reduced to 5 kilometers. Lin Ye sat cross-legged on the Titan's back, his gravity field shielding him from the violent snowstorm. Gazing at the vast expanse of white below, streams of data flickered in his eyes. Even the Titan, reinforced with titanium alloy, had its surface armor coated in a thick layer of white frost under such extreme cold. Energy consumption was 3 times faster than on the planes. So this is the environment of an S-class restricted zone. Lin Ye frowned slightly. An ordinary class warship would likely have its engines stall from the cold the moment it entered this area. Its armor would freeze brittle and be torn to shreds by the wind. But the Titan was different. Activate void engine preheating mode. Use waste heat circulation to thaw the hull. Lin Ye issued the command. The blue halo at the Titan's tail faintly illuminated. A wave of warm energy surged through its body, and the frost on its wings instantly sublimated into white mist. Ahead, a colossal snow-covered mountain range loomed into view. That was the location of Observation Station No. 33. Just then. Ding. Life forms detected below. Target Frost Wyvern LV. 15 pack. Count 20. Status hunting. Lin Ye looked down. In the ice valley below, a convoy of 3 heavy snow vehicles was being besieged by a flock of white monstrous birds with wingspans exceeding 5 meters. Those frost wyverns spewed freezing breath from their mouths. With each dive, they left deep scratch marks on the snow vehicle's armor. The convoy was clearly at its last gasp. One vehicle had a broken track and was emitting black smoke. Several mercenaries using the vehicles as cover fired back desperately with their kinetic rifles. But against the wyvern's hard icy feathers, the bullets only managed to strike a few sparks. Help! Help! Requesting backup. Whoever it is, well, pay well if you save us. A desperate cry for help came through the public channel. Lin Ye had originally intended to fly past. Meddling in this place usually meant death. But upon hearing the word payment, his finger paused on the control panel. He was desperately short of money right now. Besides, these wyverns looked delicious. Scanning target: Frost Wyvern. Weakness: cold storage sac at the throat. Drops: high purity ice crystal, 2000 federal credits per kg. Wyvern high prime material for cold resistant suits. A flock of flying wallets. A smirk curled at the corner of Lin Ye's mouth. Titan dive. Above the clouds a deep gray phantom plummeted abruptly. The mercenary captain below watched in despair. Another monster coming. They were dead for sure this time. Yet the impact he anticipated never occurred. Hum. A terrifying orange ripple enveloped the entire ice valley without warning. Gravity: well, tenfold gravity. The frost wyverns, which had been gracefully swooping through the air, suddenly felt as if a 1,000-pound weight had been tied to them. Caw! Amidst piercing shrieks, the 20-odd wyverns fell from the sky like broken kites, crashing heavily onto the snow, their bones breaking and sinews snapping. Some that had been flying higher were smashed into a pulp of flesh. The mercenaries were stunned. Before they could grasp what had happened, they saw a scythe-looking fighter jet hovering at low altitude. Lin Ye didn't show himself. Instead, a cold voice echoed through the wind and snow via the loudspeaker: cleanup fee 500,000. Pay now. The mercenary captain was taken aback for a moment, then shouted with wild joy, done. As long as we live, he'll pay $1 million. Deal. Lin Ye tapped lightly. The 6-barreled rotary cannon on the Titan's underside began to spin. But he didn't use ordinary kinetic rounds. Instead, he switched to another mode. To save some ammo, let's try this. The micro-missile bay on the Titan's back popped open. 2 incendiary missiles whistled out, landing precisely in the center of the wyverns still struggling in the snow. Boom! Flames erupted. Suppressed by the gravity field, the fire didn't spread outward but raged along the ground, instantly turning that area into a massive furnace. For frost creatures afraid of fire, this was sheer hell. In less than 10 seconds, the battle was over. Lin Ye landed the Titan, but he wasn't in a hurry to collect the money. Because the Titan core had already eagerly opened its greedy maw. Activating trait: Greedy Alchemy. A red light swept across. The charred corpses strewn across the ground, even the wreckage of the ruined snow vehicle, vanished before their eyes. Decomposing Frost Wyvern X22. Gained source points 11,000. Obtained material: ice crystal X 50 kg. Decomposing wrecked snow vehicle. Gained fine steel X 2 tons. The mercenaries huddled beside the remaining 2 vehicles, staring at the fighter jet that was eating the corpses and scrap metal. The fear in their eyes was even greater than when facing the wyverns. Had this thing come to rescue them? Or to restock its supplies?